I can just see this face in this nurse and I can't hear the heartbeat. And I told her, heartbeat inakuanga mahali hapa, hebu angalia tena. She puts it. She calls her colleague. And now theater is calling for me because it was an emergency. They open me up, remove the baby didn't cry. I start screaming. They sedate me and they take me out. So the baby died literally 5 minutes or so before birth. And it's those things that you're like, God, ni nini umefanya? Make this make sense.
So I tell them I want to see the baby. They bring the baby in a box, carton.
For milk, amani.
Ameko kwa box, amefungwa na kitu ya green. So they bring them and then I'm shouting at them. I'm like, you're putting her in a box?
Tell me what you're doing to this parent. What are you doing to them? Yeah. This is a baby you've carried 9 months. This is a baby you've prayed over. When baby umebeya mashol, umebeya nini? You've pictured them.
You've dreamt of this.
You've dreamt. You've longed for them.
People don't know how to handle men who are in pain. They just don't know because they don't expect you to be in it.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't. People used to come to visit us at home, but they would go and sit with her. All right? And I kept wondering, guys, do you realize we are both grieving? I learned that women go through a lot. I didn't go to theater. She went to theater. She's gone through all these things. She's gaining weight, she's losing weight, she's gaining weight. Her BP goes up, her BP goes down. And then, Lynn, you want me now as a man to start mistreating her or to mistreat any other woman. So I have deep respect for women.
When you talk like that, and you still hear some men saying you are simping, well, how does that make you feel?
It breaks my heart.
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding Restoration Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Today's conversation is dedicated to anyone who is stuck. And I hope by the end of this show, you do realize how amazing you are and the strength that God has given you to be able to come out of those dark holes that you are in. Our guests today, they are incredible. For me, I always admire every time I see their family photos and I'm like, God, utacheza kaa wewe Lini, like, you know, like God, hii kitu unataka aje, but I hope they really get to inspire you because even when we see them laugh, they have absolutely gone through the most. And I love that we are also going to touch a bit on mindset because if there's one thing I've always said on this show is that no matter where you're from, you have got to be able to invest in your mind because it's going to open doors to you on so many levels. So I really do hope that you get inspired. So take your notebooks, take your pen because definitely we are also going to learn. And I hope today we also get to say one of those things I love saying on the show, marriage works, but it takes work. Sawa sawa. Nimekuwa pro. All right, guys. So I'm about to let my guests introduce themselves. But before I do that, you know, I gotta pay a couple of bills here. I want to say thank you to our amazing partners at Maridadi Motors and Kings Developers Limited. We have talked about Maridadi Motors for a minute now. Go get yourself those beautiful cars. Invest in their circle. Don't forget they have a driving school and also take your car. Iosho hapo sparkling. And not forgetting our beautiful people at Kings Developers Limited. They have very beautiful apartment for you, a very ISO certified company, and you can walk into their offices at Upper Hill, Prism Towers, that magnificent building they own at Prism Towers, and tell them, Kings, Lynn ametutuma, what do you have for me? And of course, are you watching this like me? We are at 900k subscribers. Nipigieni makofi tafadhali because road to 1 million subscribers, here we come. You guys have been amazing. Sorry, you have been active participants of our work and I don't take that for granted. Shukran sana. And also to my incredible team that gets to put this work together. We appreciate you, and Damaris for putting this conversation. Dama who ni threatened Lynn usipontaja wewe. So Damaris, thank you so much for putting this beautiful conversation together. We appreciate you. Don't forget to check out her song on her YouTube channel, and the entire team at LNN that you don't get to see in front of the camera. We value you. And now, of course, without further ado, please allow me to let my beautiful guests beautiful and handsome introduce themselves. Hi.
Me, I want that Neema for 1 million subscribers.
It's coming. Waende channel inaitwa aje? Channel.
Julie Kariuki.
Pause there, head there. Show them what we can do.
Come. Absolutely.
What's up? How are you?
Yeah, well,
It's
thank
so
you.
beautiful to finally
It's a joy
have
to be
this
here.
conversation with
Yeah.
you.
It's a moment.
It's a dream
like,
come true
Yeah.
for some of us, for me and my wife.
Yeah, this is a big chair to
Yes.
sit.
Yeah.
I
Thank
you know,
you.
I once watched your conversation on someone I really respect, Gishane's channel. I've been meaning to ask, and I was just, I watched it a couple of months back, and I was like, how beautiful, because even when Dama sent me and she's like, can we please interview? I was like, yes, why not? Because I manifested this way before it happened.
Wow,
So
thank
it's
God.
a dream come true for me to be able to have this conversation with you. But before we go any further, could you please introduce yourself?
Wow. Hello, everybody. It's unbelievable to be sitting here. Like, it's such a God moment. And I just want to just appreciate you so much for having us. I am Julie Kariuki. I am a creative. I am someone who really, really loves God, super passionate about humans, people. I'm an empath. I feel people's pain. I love God so much. A mother to 3 amazing boys and a daughter in heaven, and also a wife of 10 years to my high school sweetheart. Yes.
Yeah, so my name is Peter Kariuki, and of course you've heard from my wonderful wife and the wonderful introduction. So I love calling myself hopeless, someone who's hopelessly positive.
Yes.
Yeah. Optimist, a hopeless optimist. You've heard about hopeless romantic. So me, I'm a hopeless optimist.
Yeah.
Lynn, before I say something can't be done,
Yeah.
I have tried out everything. So that's me, that's Pete. The other thing about me is I've been helped a lot in my life. I've been given a lot of opportunities and spaces to express myself. And so I believe in the principle called don't rise to the top, raise to the top. Raise people with you as you go to the top. Because I have been given space. I've been invited to rooms I didn't think I was qualified to go to. I've been, my hand has been held by so many people. And so that's been the summary of my life. And I pray that I will do much more. Because it has been done to me, I pray I'll be able to do much more to many more people. So that's a summary of who Pete is.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, you reminded me of a moment. I think they were honoring one of the people I really love and admire, Denzel Washington. They were honoring him with either a Tony. I don't know what award that was. And the late Chadwick student spoke, and he said how much Denzel had been an influence in his life. And he also loves the idea of each one raise one. Like if we could be able to hold one person's hand as we walk in our journey, that would really be amazing. When you look back at the people that have held your hand, and also maybe you could paint a picture for us a little bit of why your hand needed to be held.
Yeah. So my background and where I come from, one, I'm a Kikuyu, Peter Kariuki. Many people don't believe I'm a Kikuyu, Lynn.
No, we don't.
So I grew up with a lot of identity issues, identity crisis, because my father, whom I love so much, and my mother, whom I love so much, met somewhere many years ago. And my dad crossed many counties to get to my mom. So my mom is Borana. She's from northern Kenya. My dad is a Kikuyu.
Oh.
All right. Alivuka mito na milima
Mipaka.
na kila kitu
Na mishale.
to get my beautiful mom. All right. Akamchukua.
When love was
Very
beautiful.
genuine. Wachana na ya text siku hizi. Now we don't know about
Across
sacrifice.
the ocean
I will
for
go and bring you the moon.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll catch a grenade for you.
I will. squeezing notification to at the DM, and
bana.
someone is struggling.
Smiley
Ati,
face.
I can't slide to your DM. It's too hard. What one wanna slide to oceans and all those
Buga.
people?
Yes.
Bro, bana. So they met, and my mom was very young, and then I was born. So I grew up in this home, and loving family, loving parents. But I had this identity crisis because I couldn't speak Kikuyu properly. I couldn't speak Borana fluently. And then everywhere I'd go, people would confuse my identity.
Yes.
All right. Whether in high school, nakumbuka nilienda high school, and one guy looked at me and said, "Wewe unakaa kama softie. I'm giving you a month. You will not last in this school." You know, because of how I looked.
Yes.
Yeah. At one point, I remember being stopped by cops on the road, and they're telling me, "You're not a Kenyan." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not a Kenyan? Like, give me your identification card."
You know, there's a time there was an issue with Somalis who had come into
Yes.
the country,
Yes.
and there was an issue. A lot of illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Yes. So that's time.
So that it was around that time.
Yeah.
So akanitisha ID. Nika kwa mfuko, nikatoa ID nikampatia. Akaniambia, "Hata ID you're forging." Because he's
Central
looking
Police
at my
Station.
picture and
For
looking
real?
at my
Yes.
name. Peter Kariuki Ngugi. He's like,
Who
you've
you?
stolen this one. This is not your ID."
Jabba.
Stories are jab.
So that was my
You called
life
me from
growing
Central
up.
Police.
I called you.
Yes.
That's been my life growing up. I've had to
Yeah.
always defend myself on normal things.
Ethiopians also think.
Ethiopians think I belong to them. Somalis think I belong to them. Yeah. So that's been my background. I remember one time I was driving many years ago. Nikaenda nikapark karibu na Hilton. And then a police car came and just stopped in front of my car. And cops, wengi wakashuka wakakuja kaingia kwa gari yangu. Wakaniambia, "Twende. What are you planning with Hilton Hotel?"
Yeah.
Nikamwambia, "Nimetoka ku bless my youth." Nimetoka ku bless my youth place flani. Mimi sina shida, you know. And they got in and they were like, "Let's go. Tell us. What is this you're planning and plotting against Hilton?" So that's been I've been misunderstood many times. Yeah. And because of that, Lynn, I have appreciated people who come and pick me without too many questions. All right? And they come and say, "Pete, I think you have this thing in you. You have a gift in you, and I want to give you space." So it started in high school. A teacher came and called me out. It started at work. My first job, I didn't interview for it. Someone just came and said, "I have a job for you." Akanitoa.
Wow.
Even what I'm doing today, I've been pulled by people in many places. And nikaambiwa, "You have something, and we will put our bet on it. And we know that God has put something in your life, and we will help you figure it out." And so because of that, I always feel indebted to go back and help someone else. So that's been the summary, Lynn, of my life, of being helped. It will be foolish of me to think I'm self-made. I'm not self-made. There's no man or woman on earth who's self-made.
No.
Yes.
We are a product of people giving us space, an open door, an invitation to the table, and say, "Come, let's do this together."
Even when you don't look the part.
Talk
Correct.
to me about
Even when you don't look the part. Because I think you didn't mention that you're also a pastor.
Yes.
Yes. And another story is we were sitting in a restaurant. It was during the holy month of Ramadan years back. So we are seated somewhere eating and you know, just we were dating then. And this older gentleman comes to the table and starts telling him, "How can you eat? You're supposed to be fasting." You know, because again, he thought he was, you know. And now you see all that. But now someone sees this young man and is like, "You have a calling upon your life." And, you know, so I say even without looking the part, that now he's even risen to the ranks.
Even before that,
Pastor.
Lynn, when I was a young boy, I think I was 5 years old. Tukicheza tu na watoi kwa mtaa, Kawangware, because that's where I grew up.
Oh, you're
Ungwaro.
Ungwaro.
Born and bred.
Born and bred in Ungwaro.
Okay.
So we are playing with kids. I'm 5 years old. Another 5-year-old girl comes that we were playing with, and she looks at me and says, "One day God will save you." 5-year-old. Ananiambia, "Wewe God atakusave siku moja." So I kept wondering, this is a child like me. Ni nini ananiambia?
Yeah.
And so moved on, did things, of course, childhood, normal childhood, growing up and all. But now I started remembering what that girl told me because we were raised up in a Christian family and a Christian home. So I began trying to experiment. So nika decide siku moja, my understanding of a Christian is you need to start praying. So I started praying as a young boy. But ilianza kukuwa very spooky. So nilikuwa naenda kuomba kwa graves.
Okay.
Mbona
Sasa ndo nashindwa hata mimi.
watu wafufuke.
Ni kama watu wafufuke. So kulikuwa na grave fulani ilikuwa home na nilikuwa naruka fence. Naenda na kneel, naomba. Sijui ni nini ilikuwa ina happen. Maybe I'm supposed to raise the dead. Maybe I don't know. I don't know
either.
But it was a bit strange because I'm an 8-year-old then. Nacheza ball na watoi, but I hide, go, jump to this graveyard. There's someone there. I kneel down next to it and I say the Lord's Prayer and I leave. That's what I understood as Christianity.
I think because you used to see the cross.
Then I used to see the cross
on
and
the
all.
graveyard.
Yes.
So, as a child.
Yeah.
So ilikuwa spooky. Now thinking, I've never shared this story publicly. I'm like, hey, Pete, it's not even
That was dark.
That was a bit. Yeah. So I've come to appreciate the right people holding your hand. Sasa imagining endelea kuomba kwa graves. Ningekuwa wapi sasa?
Mimi niko tempted kujibu. Yeah, but I feel for me it's knowing you are craving for a connection.
Correct.
And you went where you felt like this is a place I could be able to connect. I don't know. I
think so too.
I think it's the need to connect with something that
I knew there was something bigger.
Bigger.
I just didn't know what it was. I didn't have someone to tell me what it was. I didn't know anyone to talk to. And so for me, the moments when I receive help, I truly appreciate.
It's good because you're a pastor. I wanted to move on to Joe, but let me just ask you this. Because you're a pastor, at what point are we supposed to introduce our kids to the whole aspect of Christianity? Because we baptize them sometimes at a very young age. Then you'll hear a pastor saying, how many of you want to be born again? You have so many young souls coming. But do they understand what is happening? And what would you advise now, having, also not fully understood? Why am I praying, but you feel the need to pray? And then having so many young people also being baptized, saved again. Do they know where they're going?
Some of them do. But remember, it's because of their age and where they're at. The best way to help such young people between 5 years all the way till preteen, 12 years, is model. Be an example.
Wow.
All right? Beautiful. So if you're at home and you want to pass certain values, then model it at home. Model it in your language. Model it in your behavior. Let them see what love looks like. Let them see what trusting God looks like. Let them pray with them and tell them, mnataka tuende holiday wapi?
Dubai.
Wakisema Dubai, we have to pray for it.
Is that you saying?
Yes,
Dubai.
that's my son.
Dubai. So then we tell them, now that, let's start praying for it now. Let's start trusting God for provision, for the ability to go. So for those formative stages, modeling really works because they're really looking at you as a parent. They are looking at you as their source as their moral compass, spiritual authority compass. They're looking at you as the voice of reason. So at that point, model it, speak to them, show them, pray with them, hold their hands.
I love that.
Once they start becoming mature, which is at about preteen, then let them make their decision and enable them to make responsible decisions.
You look at him with so much admiration, like
you're
like this is my man, you know.
Yes,
and you know when you are talking about having met, he's your high school sweetheart, but we've gotten to understand a bit of his background. How about you? How was life like growing up?
I grew up in the most stable home. My parents, amazing humans. Mom and dad saseni. Because I know they're watching. So we were brought up in a Christian home. I'm the third of four. So I always felt like a middle child, though we are 4 of us, because so firstborn a girl, and then a boy, the only son, myself, then a younger sister. So for some reason, because, you know, being an only son was very up there, you know, so I always felt like a middle child. So I had everything that you would associate a middle child with, all those symptoms. My sisters, my eldest and my youngest, were the singers, were the ones who loved visitors, were the ones who are clean in the home and tidying the house. I was the lazy one in the bedroom, always just wanting my space with a book or knitting or crocheting. Alone, I loved being alone. So I was always that way. So in a way, I had some sense of, I'm not like my sisters. I can never reach to their standards, you know. They wake up, they wash dishes, they make breakfast. I never did that. And I hated doing that. So I was that teenager. But so there was that element of always just feeling like I was off. But then again, I went to boarding school very early. When I was 10 years old, I was sent to an only girls' school. Very strict school. It was run by nuns. So I was sent there, and which was okay because I wanted to go to boarding, because home I felt was unfair. So boarding is where I found peers, and I started doing very well in school. So in school I became quite popular in terms of academics and a prefect, and, you know, I was in the dance drama group, all those things. And then high school the same. And then I found God at a very young age, 9 years old. So it was a church meeting, and then we were singing as a class. And then we were sent to this place. It was at City Stadium, and I remember being called for the altar call, and I went and I got saved. And I knew exactly what I was doing, though I was 9 years old. And then from that time, God's hand was upon me. I went to an all-Catholic school, like I said, but I still had a CU group. I used to lead them, and I used to meet them. Christians, only 5 of us somewhere in a corner. It was illegal, but I used to do that. So I've always been that type of person, an activist of sorts, fighting for our rights. Though I used to fight the legal route. I never used to do the extremes of banning schools, no, but just, it's not fair that standard 5 are not done, this and that. I used to be that person.
Having your voice heard.
Yes. Yeah. So I've always been just a vocal person in my circles. Yeah, so creative person, my creativity started then. I remember my mom buying for me crochets and Uzi for my birthdays. I loved it. I started wearing glasses when I was 8. So I've always just like a geek. I've always just wanted books. I loved mimicking TV presenters. I used to speak like Catherine Kasavuli.
Oh, I
loved it. I loved, you know, all the advertisements. I used to speak word for word with them. Yeah, so I was just that kid, very, very curious. I never used to speak much, but once the visitors would leave, I'd mimic everything they've done. So I've always just been that cartoon person. And so my childhood was amazing.
You know, when you mentioned you grew up in a loving home, can we appreciate that? Because, you know, I think we don't appreciate it enough. Trust you me, some of us don't even know what a stable home looks like. It's been brokenness, not brokenness, brokenness after brokenness after brokenness, that sometimes I tend to think people who have grown up in stable homes like you don't know what you have.
For sure. And you know, it's easy to take that for granted because that's all I knew, right? But mom and dad have been best of friends, and now they've been married 43 years.
Wow.
And if you see them today, like, I'm sure even now, they're on the same couch. Even right now in the house, I'm sure. Kwanza neighboridi, you know? So my parents have just been that person. So loving home, very stable. Dad is always home. My mom used to run a school that was literally next to our house. So she was always home. My dad would go to work, come back, and I remember one thing, an image I always have is my dad used to come back every day with a paper bag. Cabbage, skari, unga, every day. Na nyama. I ate nyama every day as a child. Every day. And then nikaolewa na baki say, hey bro.
Sisi ni vegetarians.
Nasi by choice.
Ni circumstance. I'm like, sisi tunakula nyama kila siku manze. Alafu sasa weekend ni kuku, you know, because we had them. So that's the environment I grew up in. You know, dad comes home with the stuff. Mom is always available. Like you'll always find her at home. You know, I can sit with her. You know, everywhere we go, they paid for school fees on time. They sent us to school trips on time. Like, stable. Like, that's all I knew. Me, as an adult, is when I started realizing, it's not the same for everybody.
It's not.
Oh my gosh, my God, this person has not seen their dad for how many months. I'm like, it was so foreign to me because that's the environment I grew up in, and I thank God.
Is that something you crave to give your kids now?
Oh yes, and I pray I do it. I pray, Yani, just to be available, and that's one of the reasons even the choices I've made now as an adult, because I stopped working in a corporate job in 2018 just to be home, raise my boys, because I saw my mom's hand on our lives. Like, she was there even when we were going through it as teenagers, preteens. She was there with us. So I saw what impact it has had on us. Until today, if all of us, we are best friends with mom. We call mother every day. All four of us, you know. So it's those things, those steps that you've seen, they've worked even now as adults, even in our 30s, 40s. We are still like that with our parents because of what they did. So I crave to do that with my kids. Like, I just want to be present. Like, you know, even in school, if there's a meeting, I'm there. You know, I am involved. If there's anything in the estate, I know all his friends. I want to be that parent. I really want to be that parent.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. You know, sometimes it's good that we get to see, you know, you mirror what works.
Yes.
And for us, we can only look at you with great admiration. So we appreciate even you sharing that part. But wait, how did you know she's the one?
How did I know she's the one?
Yes.
Hey, the looks.
Oh my God. I was not ready.
So we met in high school. Her school came to our school. A mutual friend introduced us. But it was just a regular introduction. Nothing came out of that.
No.
But then successive youth camps that we used to attend in December, I started noticing there's someone who I'm getting attracted to. Yeah. Again, as a teenager, your emotions are not fully
developed.
Well, your emotions are running everywhere,
Yes.
but your critical thinking abilities is not fully developed.
For sure.
So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to talk to her. Then we were in this ministry setting where we were prayer partners. Kitu ya prayer partners ilianza kitambo na imesaidia watu wengi.
I'm interested.
So we became prayer partners. And so we'd share a lot of heartfelt issues and prayer requests. Let me tell you, that's where you get to know someone. So we prayed for each other, started noticing each other. But mimi nilikuwa na a lot of Christianese. Okay? So when I couldn't tell her directly, I like you.
Yeah.
I had to mask it with a lot of Christianese and a lot of words.
We used to call each other brother na sister.
Wongo. Hey, bro.
Messages ilianza na,
Hi, sis.
good morning, my dear sister. And then ika progress to good morning,
Dear.
my dear.
Then,
Sister Zone. Ikatoka.
yes.
Then tukaingia good morning, darling.
Kondani.
So that was a progression.
Yes.
But I had to get to a place where I had to tell myself that this is a woman for me.
How old were you here?
Here I was 19. But that's not where I told myself.
Yes.
It took about 7 years because we dated for 7 years. In between that, she went to the US.
Yes.
She came back. We broke up like 4 times in between, you know, tukisonga tu na maisha.
Yeah.
Because of dealing with different things. But how did I know she was the one? One, I felt the rate at which my life was getting better because of her was very high. So the conversion rate, the rate at which Pete was getting better, godlier, more purposeful was very high. So that was a big determinant for me because you don't want to give your life to someone for the rest of your life in marriage if someone is constantly diminishing your value. So if someone is diminishing your value, it's a good sign they are not the ones for you.
It's a red flag.
It's a red flag. It's not even a red flag. It's a red
Big flag.
elephant. It's a big thing.
Yes.
All right. So how do you know someone is the one for you? Conversion rate. How quickly are you, Lynn, getting better, more purposeful, more joyful, more driven, more with visions? You're starting things. She did that for me. And that was one of the markers I knew this is the woman I need to get to because I felt my life for the rest of my life will be on an upward trajectory because of her. The other way I knew she was the one is I felt she was speaking the same language that God was speaking in my life. So I was surrounded by so many people, but all of them kept telling me, hey, Pete, you're the guy, you're the gentleman, Sijui, you're this, you're that. How she cut through the fluff. She was like, bro, usipo change, utachomeka.
Came over.
Utenda hell.
Yeah.
Well,
You said hell.
no, it was
So
not.
and any activist, how she doesn't. Me, I tend to be a diplomatic guy.
Bro.
Me, I'm a diplomatic guy.
Yes.
Her,
She's
she
straightforward.
shoots from the hip. So there's no mincing words. There's no. So she picked out early my issues in life. And she started telling me, Pete, if you don't adjust this, there's a problem. So everyone around me was praising me. Then I had one person who was coming to me so strongly, and it felt like God was directly talking to me about those same things. That's how I knew she's the one.
And how does someone differentiate that and criticism?
Yes.
And criticism.
Yeah, like someone who's, you'd feel like, why are you criticizing me?
Why are you telling me these things?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Well,
You
what
see,
makes you feel
for,
this is
for
God?
criticism, the reason why I accepted it is because I knew she was right. You know, with criticism, you can defend and say, I'm being criticized for the wrong reasons. All right? But when you know someone is right, you might not necessarily have the boldness and courage to tell them
That you're
right.
right.
But deep down, you check yourself, you're like, ameongea ukweli.
There you go.
There's a time you were in a mat and we were just driving and I told him, by the way, what's your plan for the next 5 years? We are 19, Uko. What's your plan for the next?
You told him?
I asked him.
In a mat?
We're in a mat together and I think I saw, we were passing, I grew up in Umoja.
Yes.
We were passing through Umoja and I told him, by the way, what's your plan? Because Mimi, I've grown in Umo and I don't want to live in Umo anymore because I'd lived there. And I can remember his face thinking, and that's when we started having those conversations for, you need a plan. You need to have a vision. I cannot follow you if you don't have a vision. And you see, this is a very young, even sometimes I wonder where that was coming from. But as a young person, these are the conversations we were having. So we were really pushing each other so much, yeah. What's okay, you want to go to this school, what are the steps, I remember us writing letters to these universities or whatever we wanted to go, helping each other in, such things, because we knew we wanted to go somewhere and we were taking the steps.
What's the importance? Because I feel like what a woman needs in a relationship or in marriage is stability, provision, and security.
Absolutely.
Is that it for you? And maybe is that why you would ask him, what's your plan? Because I love you. And I feel like sometimes people don't know where to draw the line between I love you so much and then accepting the fact hatutakula love. What's your plan?
And it's those things like I don't know where I got that thinking as a 19-year-old. But I think I was exposed to a lot of Christian materials. I used to listen to a lot of sermons, so I think I learned that from there. But even till now, as a woman who's been in marriage 10 years and dated this guy 7, so we've been together for 17 years. The thing that I've learned is exactly that. Someone who provides, someone who gives you a sense of security, and someone who, just protects you and loves you. And for me, that's the antidote. Anyone wants that. They want a person who is stable, someone who's, their feet are on the ground. And that's what Pete is essentially. You don't have to be millionaires. You do not. But they have the drive. They get up in the morning, they go, they grind, they come back home, they bring what they have. And the same for you, of course. But the security, is even when things are tough, they reassure you, baby, we want to be here forever. I have this plan. Let's pray about this. Such things, they make a woman feel so stable as opposed to someone now who will enter stress mode and decide now that I can't handle my kids anymore. I've left, and I know people who do that. But for me, it's been that, just having your feet on the ground, having a plan, even when things are really tough, but just having a plan that right now it's this stuff, but I know I've spoken to so and so, you see this thing, if we do this way, I think it will make something. So may I go behind the scenes and I start praying and I start believing God and I start encouraging him. Like sometimes, he enters the house, I'm like, Bazu, like, like I want him so pumped up.
You are his biggest cheerleader.
What are you saying? Yani akenda pale nje, yani he's like, because that's my role. And every time it works.
Wow.
It works.
That's her role. And that's what she wants. And that was what she has as a woman.
Yeah.
What do men want? What do men need in a marriage?
So men at different stages of their lives will want different things.
Yes.
Okay. There's the conventional respect that men want. I think we've heard about that over and over and over. That men want respect, women want love, which it's true. It's true. But Lynn, there are stages in a man's life where all he wants is peace.
Samson and Delilah.
Yeah, you just want peace.
Yeah.
Okay, you just want a peaceful house, not umeingia, you know, everyone is shouting, everyone is screaming. Hey, kila mtu anapiga story. Yani your head is just, and especially in a season or in a space where a man is trying to figure things out. Peace is very important. There are seasons of a man's life where they want to be understood. Okay, because sometimes you'll have to wake up early in the morning, come late at night. It's not that you're trying to work certain things out. Okay, so there are those things that are common denominators: respect, love, and all these things. Good, being spoken to nicely, warmth, tenderness, pleasantness. So that for a man, you can't be calling him and then you're like, umefika? That can be the first question.
Yeah.
Umefika? Yeah. Umefika wapi?
Huyo Cisco.
Uko?
Uko?
First, the guy is wondering, you didn't even ask how I'm doing. Okay? You don't even know where I'm probably at or what kind of storm I'm in the middle of right now.
Yes.
So be warm. Be caring in your conversation. Those are small things that sometimes people think, no. Me, I'm an independent woman. Fine, keep your independence, but be kind.
Wow.
Be kind, be warm, be nice. All right? And so a pleasant tone, pleasant attitude. And I'm not saying it won't happen every time, but generally those are things that
a man craves in a woman.
For, because you're not looking for a fellow man.
And a lot of women are becoming men.
You're not looking for a fellow man. You're not looking for someone who will debate with you at your level and call you. Those things we can do outside.
Yes.
You can go and fight in a boardroom. But when you come back, you don't want a board member. You want a wife.
You what?
Yeah.
We are,
No, your wife anaweza kuwa ni board member during
Anaweza
the
kuwa ni
day.
board member.
Right, but when I go
And a
home,
chairperson in a board.
I
but
put everything aside.
let's just be cordial. Let's be kind to each other. Let's be friendly to each other. And so at different stages, Lynn, men will want different things. My father is in a stage where all he wants is peace at his old age. His peace. He wants peace. And he's entered a space where he's become a peacemaker.
Good.
He's calling family members together to reconcile because he wants peace.
He wants peace.
Then there's a point where he wants support. Because there's a babe, hii project tunaingia, hii tunafanya. And your wife is looking at you and wondering, I think you're smoking something that is not good.
I feel that every other time. You know, my first is like, wow, sasa leo hii ni gani imevutwa cause.
Yeah, hii ni gani.
Then at the end of the day, you are there. Do it.
Yeah.
You can. And sometimes the honest truth is, they are always right.
Yes.
No matter how
For
bad
sure,
those projects look. At the
As
end
long
of
as
the
it's a
day-
man in God,
Yes.
you won't make even if he makes, you'll be together in it, you know, and you'll be able to see the danger
And what you
sides.
don't want to kill, because it might even fail, what you don't want to kill is the intrinsic thing that wants to start with
drive.
things, the drive.
You do not want to kill that.
You don't want to kill that, because if you kill that, then the guy might never take any other shot.
Another
ingine.
shot.
He will
Wow.
Yeah, so support. It might not make sense to you. You might think he's losing some money, of course, within the boundaries of safety for your family. Let him try. Support him. Encourage him. Cheer him on.
Whether
Join
it
him.
works out or
Join
not.
him. If anauza vikombe, join siku moja kwa market or somewhere where he's put up the shop and tell him, by the way, hizi vikombe tutauza. Hata kama unajua kuna dead stock. Just talk haisongi. Hizi vikombe.
Zinaenda
Sijaiona
mbele.
vikombe kama hizi.
Yes.
Yeah, support.
You said, he said men don't want another boardroom in their
Yes,
home,
yes,
they
yes.
want their wife.
Yeah.
And you said that's where we are going wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of women
Yeah.
are now becoming men
Yeah.
in their marriages.
Yes.
Did you struggle with that in your early days of marriage?
Yeah.
And as a woman, how have you worked on it?
Me, when I entered marriage, again, I was this activist. I'm a very strong personality, very strong. He's a very, Ametulia, he's a very, calm
Chilled
person.
out.
Yeah, I'm very strong, but I'm not rude or mean, but my personality is strong. So I entered marriage with this very strong personality, equal rights, and I remember the first fight we had after our honeymoon. We had a beautiful honeymoon in Dubai.
Wow.
We came back after about 11 days. We come back home, and then one of the evenings I was working, he's working. He's come back home, and then he had this idea of marriage. You sit back, relax, and enjoy. Me, I've come back from work as well, and I used to work so far from home. So I've climbed like 2 matatus back home. So he's relaxing and enjoying his life. I'm in the kitchen. I've just come, I've put my bags down. I've not even changed, I've not showered. I'm there, I'm washing, I'm cooking. And then, I've left now the things in the kitchen cooked. I went to bedroom, I think, to shower. So I come back and I told him, "Hiya, you've not eaten?" He's like, "You need to serve for me." That is the day. I said some words. I was like, bro. He doesn't work like this.
Yeah, bro. Kwenda give up.
And then he felt like, "You need to serve for me, And, because I was upset, I was tired. I said some mean words, right? And, he came to me, now I was in the kitchen almost crying because I'm angry. I'm serving now. He comes to me and is like, "You know what? Let's do this. Never cook for me. Never serve for me. Never do anything for me." Immediately, I just felt the Holy Spirit. That was 2 weeks in marriage. I felt the Holy Spirit. He told me, "Apologize to your husband." Okay, equal rights. What do you mean? Even me, I'm tired.
Why am I apologizing?
He was like, "Apologize to him." And you know what the Holy Spirit told me?
Yes.
Kneel down. Me, I'm a Kenyan woman. I'm not Ugandan. Kneeling.
Not today.
So my husband is so upset that he didn't even want to eat. He's going to the bedroom. Hey, now I'm following him. Because now the Holy Spirit is on my case like this. I'm feeling so bad. Followed him. And I knelt. And I said, "Babe, I am so sorry. I reacted so badly. I could have said it nicely. I'm so sorry." From that day, God sorted that issue. Like, I just stopped being
aggressive.
Every home runs just uniquely. So your husband anaweza penda kwa anapenda tu kuserviwa. Serving him will not kill you. But you see, the advice sometimes happens, and I'm a content creator on social media. Sometimes we push our own agendas. We push these things while he has hands. Even you have hands. Ikitu kwetu wewe na Holy Spirit, and the way your home is run. Do it. So for me, that was the issue for me. Like, God completely worked on that.
Yes.
He said, "You are not equals. There's a way God has ordained this thing.
There's order.
Know your place. Know how to talk to him." Because he never talks to me like that. Zile, "I am not here to serve you." No, he never goes there. So who are you to think you can do that? So in another situation now, a similar situation, it would have been, I'm back from the bathroom and I'm like, "Hey, you've not eaten?" He's like, "Okay, please serve for me. I'm tired."
Sawa.
"Okay, sawa, babe." Just serve for him. And then when you're sitting, I'm like, "Hey, I'm so tired, baby, to be nice. If you can help me with the dishes even." He'll do it so fast. Because, he's a good person. But no chance, I'm like, so of course, you didn't mean that. Never cook for me, because I've been cooking for you now.
Yeah, and he's been eating.
I'm here 10 years later.
I panicked because I remember my mother's words. "A woman's mouth," even it's in the Bible, "with your own mouth, you'll destroy your marriage." I was like, "God forbid. Babe, I'm so sorry. I'll never do that." Yeah.
What makes a man want to be served? Why did you want her to come from the bathroom and come and serve you? And food was right
Very
there.
good question. Can I address the nation?
Ni mikono,
mikono,
ni nguvu, ni sufuria uoni. What is the issue? Yes.
So, like I said, there are subtle things that mean a lot to a man. So let's even talk about contextually. We are Africans.
Yes.
All right? There's a reason why I'm in Kenya I'm not Dutch. There's a reason. I'm not a European. There's a reason.
Hey, my God.
There's a reason why God brought me here.
You're
If you wanted,
African.
ningekuwa wapi?
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
No way.
Hey, kila mtu na shughuli yake. Contextually, I'm in Africa. I'm in Kenya.
Yes.
All right? There are things that socialization and growing up,
That's what he had seen.
we were taught, okay, or we saw, all right? I never saw my dad necessarily go to the kitchen. He used to come home from work, sit down, and then his food was brought hot. Kwanza alikuwa analeta maji moto ya kuosha miguu. Ametoa viatu, anaingiza
Funosha mkono.
Lynn, tulikosea
Sick ndo ile.
Tulikosea njia.
Sick ndo ile.
Tulipata njia Lynn.
Anyway, so there are things I kept seeing, all right? And by the way, let me say this. There's nothing wrong
There's nothing wrong.
with our African values, some of them. So that we also don't trash everything and say, no, this is not right. Now, when it comes to the word of God and scripture, then that's where we draw the line.
For sure.
So, I don't know if you've heard about this languages of love.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So there are different love languages. There's touch, there's service, there's gifts, there's acts of service. And it's good to know what appeals to you.
Yes.
All right? Quality time. So me, I realized early on, acts of service is what appeals to me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay? So it mattered. Quality time was good, but it didn't do it for me. What did it for me? Manze ni kathamos, kachai, kamekam tu sijaitisha. Kamekam tu.
Hey! Imetokelezea.
Imekam tu.
Imenipata
Niko na kajinja.
Kidogo tu.
na kajinja.
Kajinja. After that, kitu tu ingine imekam. Sijaitisha. Sijaambia mtu anything.
Yes.
Those meant a lot because Pete, acts of service rank very high.
Good.
Okay. Someone might want to argue with me, oh, you shouldn't be like that. But you see, in marriage, Lynn, again, you have general prevailing wisdom, and then you have customized approach for your spouse.
Yes.
So there's
'Cause they
something
are
customized that I need to handle my wife.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what people out there will say. They are not married to my wife.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's married to her. I have to seek what is a customized approach to make her feel important.
Yeah.
All right? Nezenda summit leo, ama conference niambiwe, all women love touch. For example, nikam niseme,
Leo ni leo.
leo ni leo. Leo, kuguguza na kuguguza. Leo ni leo. But what she's like, me, I don't want this PDA. I don't want PDA. It's not my kind.
You all touched out because of the children,
And that's
perhaps.
true because she's not a PDA person.
Yeah.
So me naweza rudi home with this wisdom of, but nimeambiwa ni
Tumeambiwa.
PDA. Ni nini ya respond, you know? So take time to understand your partner. For me, acts of service meant quite a lot.
Yes.
Hiyo tu chakula, hiyo tu
Come
nini.
to hapa man.
And then he started learning that for me to get this acts of service, there are things I also need to do so that this woman is, you know, because it wasn't coming naturally for me. Understand, I had gone to the US for a bit. And the US, kila mtu jitegemea.
Yes.
You know?
Jipange.
Wash your clothes even, you know. So I was also trying to unlearn some of those and, you know, just trying to adapt into this marriage. We had not lived together, so I didn't know that side of him. Because everywhere we used to go in the restaurant, so the guy is serving us. So I didn't know he wants to be served. I had never seen that. So again, it was so foreign to me. But then again, he started serving me. So we used to live in like third floor. Yes. And, you know, our neighbor would come wash the clothes and leave them in the lines downstairs. And sometimes because of work schedule, I'd forget to unhang the clothes. He'd say, I'm going to take them. And I was like, this guy, you know, because I thought he was a traditional person, but he would do that. So by the time he's coming home, he'll find his thermos there, you know, because I've done everything he wants, because he's also known, okay, for me to get this, you know.
She loves
and
this.
It became a rhythm in our marriage. Even till today, now you serve yourself, right? But like,
you evolve.
You evolve with
allow
time
yourself
and
to
of course
evolve.
circumstances, because now he can't tell me to serve him. I have a newborn. Like it's strange, right? Yeah. But he's learned over the years. Even me, I've learned, like, for me to get this from him, because me, I love now the quality time. I just want us to hang out. Let's just bam, you know?
Yes.
Because he gets very busy sometimes. So he's learned that, hey, this means a lot to my wife. So the days you wake up and say, but today it's me and you.
Twende kazi.
Yeah, that's what do you do?
You know?
I'm like, yeah.
And I love that you said, mume evolve,
Yes.
ni
Yeah,
wote.
you have to.
And one of the things I keep, one of the things that is very clear even as I keep hosting this show is that people do not know that a wedding is not a marriage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
People confuse a wedding for a marriage. Talk to us about your marriage life.
Yeah.
You know, you've done this very beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a clip of your wedding online.
Yeah.
You guys are looking very beautiful. It's a beautiful day. You've gone on a beautiful honeymoon in Dubai. And then now you come. This is marriage.
Yeah.
Walk us through your marriage life,
Yeah.
the expectations, the challenges,
Yes.
the beautiful things,
Yes.
loss, and now getting, you know, and coming out of that place where you knew as a couple, we might not come out of this.
Yeah. The days leading to our marriage, our wedding, the day we announced we want to get married, we didn't have money.
We'll talk about the engagement.
Yes.
We didn't have money. And here we are looking extremely disadvantaged. Have you ever been in a place where, Lynn, you know this is the right thing for you, but there's no resource backup for it? So we were in that space. And I hear a lot of young people saying, but I can't, I don't know what to do. So January of 2014, we announced we want to get married in July. Hatuna kakiru hakako.
Na July we are getting married.
We are
July,
getting,
we're
because we dated
getting
7 years.
Tumechoka.
Sasa
Sasa tusipofanya
Kaende.
hivyo, you know?
7 years.
So we had 10,000 shillings between the two of us. Okay, so we said the first thing we'll buy are our rings. Tukanunua, niko nayo. This ring is 3,000 shillings. Tukanunua yake ilikuwa, I think, ameacha home.
Yes.
Something happened, ilikatika at 4,000. 7K rings.
We are good.
If nothing else happens,
We have
Still
rings.
the same.
this is
Yes,
a
the
stem
same
ring.
one.
Hey.
Yeah, I still
Mine was
have
cut
it.
because when I have babies, my fingers.
Then
small.
yes.
So this is the same ring, 3K. So then we started
But
the
it's
meeting.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
a nice
good.
ring.
Yeah, so
Oh, Yaki, you are so good.
by the way, Lynn, hiyo 10K haikuwa yangu, ilikuwa yake. Hiyo 10K ni alitoa.
Sema yote pia. Chama.
Ni alitununulia rings because I didn't have anything, you know. So, and I thank God for my wife for just doing certain things
Yes.
ahead of time. So that's what we had between January and July. We are having committee meetings by faith, meeting people by faith, going forward by faith. We meet our parents by faith.
Cakes.
They're looking at us and they're wondering,
Vijana.
what is rushing you? Ni nini inafanya mwarakishe? So fast forward, things changed in between May, June. I got a very good job, courtesy of the person I still work with till today. His name is Julian Kula. One of the people who has lifted me.
Such an incredible.
He's
honestly,
amazing.
He's
Should have him on
amazing.
your show.
Yeah.
I will someday.
So
He's amazing.
he's one of the men who
Umsalimie.
lifted me up.
Yes.
And you know how he lifted me up? He gave me a job offer, and then on the amount, pesa, akaniambia, endo uandike what you want to be paid.
This is 2 months to our wedding.
This is 2 months to the
We
wedding.
need that money so badly.
Please tell me you wrote $1 million.
Niliandika dollars. Ushaitisha salary na dollars.
Nimejua tu ni bro yangu. Mimi nimejua tuko na connection.
Nilienda home na offer letter haina kitu kwa amount. Nikampigia nikamwambia, yeah. Sasa how much is too much? How little is too little? Sasa nasa hiyo sijaona salary for a long time. So I don't even know sijui market rate, sijui what industry standard,
Gross net.
sijui.
Hata tax.
Aliniambia tu, here is a job offer for you, Pete. I've seen you. I've worked with you as a young man. I've seen what you've done. I'm giving you something. Wow. And on the offer letter, I've left it blank. Go and fill it for yourself. Nikaenda home, nikampigia simu. Nikasema hata Kenya shillings out. Kwanza nikaweka dollar sign hapo mbele. Nikaandika. Na nikamrudishia. Akaniambia, okay, sawa. Na tuta backdate to 2 months because you've been doing a few things.
What?
And then let's start.
That's all God. When you step in faith, He'll just bring it.
Everything fell into place.
We had a beautiful wedding.
And Lynn, I grew up in a very small house. 1-roomed house, Kawangware. Toilets zilikuwa nje. Everything was outside. Bafu ilikuwa nje. At some point I used to cross over our landlord's house to go to the toilet because alikuwa anafunga mlango yake. So we never had access to sijui a toilet in the house, running water, tap water. All those things were strange to me.
Yes.
All right. Vile nilipata kakitu hivi. Nilikimbia nikatafuta nyumba kubwa. Kasema,
as newlyweds, you were staying in a 3-bedroom,
you know,
with 3 toilets.
because of me. Nikasema sijaona choo. Wewe natumia gani leo? Leo ni gani?
Naanzia wapi?
Ama nianzie hapa nikimalizia pale. Because of where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And I love what someone said. Someone said that your speed in life is determined by what you're running away from
Tell them.
or what you're running towards.
Tell them.
Me, I was running away from
poverty.
Hey, let me tell you. And I wouldn't tell someone right now to do it because it's my own experience.
For sure.
So I got into a 3-bedroomed house after nimelipo in dollars. Niko dollars ndio hizi. Na huko watu wanataka Kenya shillings, convert, lipa nyumba. Nikamwambia my wife, sasa tuendelee na maisha. Brought her to this house and we started our life together. So there was a clear separation because of stepping out. And part of rebuilding and restoration, Lynn, is to being decisive about where you want to go.
Yeah.
And nothing should stop you.
Yes.
Just be decisive.
And not looking
If
at the
you
current
want to heal,
circumstances.
if you want to heal, be decisive about healing. If you want to recover, be decisive about the recovery. Somehow, things will orchestrate around you to enable you on the decisions you've made.
I love that.
So anyone who seeks healing, anyone who seeks restoration, someone else said that a person who grew up in an average African home needs repair. An average African home, if you grew up in that environment, you need repair because of the mental
Traumatic.
It was too much. It was traumatic. And I'm yet to meet, my wife is a few of the people I've met who've had a very good, the people I talk to, hey, you are left, you are alone, you suffered, you are kicked out for school fees, you made your way through, you are abused in your own house.
Tulikuwa tuna mashida.
Mpaka nashindwa God, nini tulifanya? But when you make a decision, make the decision. And let God support every decision you've made. So now quick, fast forward to wedding. So we get married, begin our life, now everything is okay. One of the testimonies is during our wedding, someone comes to bring a gift to us and then whispers to her and says, I am the lady who's running this company you had applied for a year ago. I'm here to tell you that you have the job. So whenever you're done, kuja ujoin job.
What?
This is July. So she had reached out. I had gone for an interview the year before.
Yes.
And I got the regret. Nililia. UN, United Nations. I cried so much. And then a year later, I get a few days to my wedding. It was literally like 3-4 days. I get this email and she's like, by the way, there's a vacancy, it's open. Are you? And I'm like, I'm getting married next week. So it will be tricky, I can't report. And then, of course, after the wedding, you don't have to report to work the next Monday.
Yes.
So I was like, I don't know. So she said, just send me the wedding invite if that's okay with you. Of course, I sent it to her. So in the wedding, she's like, it's ready. Come in September. Tuko July. Wow. So I've given you these few months. Enjoy honeymoon.
Report to work
and left us a big envelope like this. Hey?
We moved from not having in January to 2 months before our wedding.
We have 2 jobs now.
4 times more, 3 times, 5 times more. We have 2 jobs. We have this house. We're like, see God. Oh.
People came through with the wedding gifts, the vouchers, so fully furnished house.
My God was just there.
God revenge.
Revenge.
And so that was the first experience we had. So then we get married. Then we start trying to get children. So expectations now start shifting because now that you're married, the responsibility are even more.
Yes.
And so, for me kwanza.
Yeah.
Mi nakumbuka after the wedding, I looked at my wife, nikajiambia, Pete, umefanya nini?
Wedding night. Ako peke yake anapata panic attack.
Nilipata
I'm
panic
sleeping.
attack. Nikajiuliza, Pete, umefanya nini?
Wedding, marriage. You're excited about the wedding. So married, you're married. Umeachiliwa.
Sasa karibu nipigie mabeshte niwaambie. Mimi nilikuwa na joke.
Nitoeni kwa hiki.
Sasa niko sawa.
So I was almost calling my best man Nimwambie, bro, skiza. I didn't mean all these things.
Kwani mjui jokes?
Amjui jokes kwani, amjui sherehe. Amjui gig. And I felt all the responsibility in the world dawned on me. Because I looked at her and said, if she becomes sick, if she wants this,
Further education.
if she wants this, it's my responsibility. I'm not taking her back to her father's house. I took her out of her father's house. And so, Pete, you must be a man, grow up, mature, and take care of your responsibilities.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. You're a smart man. And I had to figure it out. And the first thing I had to plan for her was her graduation. Because we even got married before we graduated from university. Tulikuwa na mbio, Lynn.
Mapenzi yake.
Tulikuwa tunaenda, tulikuwa...
It was time. I think it was the
It was a
opportune
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start life together. Life is good. Of course, expectations. Ni kama sandpaper.
And she's
the first
happy.
year, and she's
And I'm
happy.
happy.
And first year, ni kama sandpaper, rubbing against each other.
First year is tough because of the roles again.
Yeah.
What he grew up from is me, what I grew up with, seeing this. So we all came with these different expectations.
Yeah. So of course,
Sandpaper.
knowledge, learning, reading books. Don't be isolated. So one of the things we had to do was find a community that values marriage.
Yeah.
Don't find a community that
That
does
is
not
against
value what
marriage.
you're trying to build.
Yes.
Oh, powerful.
Don't try and hang around people who devalue
What you're trying
the
to
healing you're trying to look for.
repeat that again. I feel like I interrupted something powerful.
Don't look for people who devalue the healing you're after. So if you're healing from a certain kind of brokenness, and then the people who you're hanging around with are constantly, they don't see the need for you to heal. They don't see the need for you to come out of that thing, then they are not your best allies for that kind of healing that you're looking for. So our marriage needs a certain kind of treatment.
Yes.
So we need to look for people who value the thing we are also valuing. Wow. Because if we have people who don't value, it'll just be a matter of time. They'll pull my wife aside, they'll pull me aside, and they'll be like, you know what? Hiki tu mko sure kweli.
And it's people who value the Kariukis, not Pete or not Julie. You know, they're on
The
Team
union.
Julie. The union. That, okay, I don't hear both of you. What is, the thing that you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So community is a big deal,
Yes.
Lynn. Anyone who's trying to heal, be restored, and be rebuilt,
I love that.
you need to be in an environment. It's like you've been taken to ICU or you're in HDU. The reason why you go to HDU is so that you're given a certain level of specialized treatment. So the first year, second year of marriage, ni kama katoto kadogo. You don't expose your small baby to mvua,
Good.
Siju
githeri.
umeenda hike, siju, githeri. You don't. So a lot of care. So we had to have a lot of care for this new thing we had started, and protect it with everything we had. So that's how marriage was for the first 5 years. And then now came children. We tried for children. I think my wife
After
is
5
the one.
years?
No.
After the first year, yeah. So we were with those people who knew we wanted children immediately. Me, I was ready. Like I felt I was ready. Even him, but I was a bit ready. Women sometimes are a bit ahead.
Oh yeah, way too ready.
Yeah, way too ready. So when he caught up with me and we were like, now let's start taking treatment. So we went to the doctors and they told us, up to a year is when, we can't intervene before it's a year. So you guys have fun. Let's see. So after a year, again, we are not conceiving. So we were like, me, I was like, there's definitely something wrong. So we ran tests and all this. But I remember just the labeling. The first time I went to the doctors, he labeled me. He just wrote on that paper, infertility. And he had not tested me. So already, he wrote infertility. So he told me, go to this place, they'll check your tubes, blah, blah, blah. But he had already labeled me. So I went home thinking, I'm infertile, And I wasn't, because the tubes were fine, everything was fine, but we were just not conceiving. And for the first time now, especially for me, I've found an obstacle. Like, life has been so smooth, like everything we needed would come.
And then this?
Suddenly, it's so hard. It's so hard. We are doing everything, we lived by the books. We followed God's word, and I kept struggling with that a lot. It's one of those things God also had to tell me, Julie, it's not about actions, it's not about your works.
Yes.
I bless who I bless. Because I was having an issue with, I'm seeing a 16-year-old who's gotten pregnant out of it. Me, I'm like, God, me, I'm married. Me, I'm ready. God, I bless the one I want to bless.
Wow.
Relax. So tukaanza kuingia tu hiyo season ya seeking prayer, seeking medical advice. So the story is very long, but the first pregnancy we lost, but we didn't even know we were pregnant, but I became very ill. So when we went to hospital, they ran this test and they're like, you're going through a miscarriage. I'm like, yeah. Then a month later, I conceived now our son who's 7 years old. So we were so happy. Again, a miracle journey. Everything provided for, everything went so well. That period before, so this job at the United Nations had ended at some point because of the contract was not renewed. And then I was jobless for a bit. This time we were trying to conceive, so I entered a depression phase there. And God came through because you were trusting him for a job for me, so that I'm busy. You know, when you're at home, you don't have a child, you're capable, but on a job, you're just at home. It's very depressive. So my husband would leave, and again, I'm on this fertility things they're giving me. I was in a very depressed state, but we kept trusting God. So I remember we conceived, I found out I was pregnant on the 6th of October. And on the 16th, I was offered a job. Like God has always just, and that job now took us through the delivery, the maternity leave, like paying good money during that season. So we have our son, we're happy, and we're like, you know what, we want back-to-back children, so that these strollers, these bottles to sipeane, we still use them. To save the costs, So the process again, we're trying to conceive, blah, blah, blah. It's hard again. I'm like, God, see, I thought that obstacle was behind us, because now there's no issue. We've proved you can have children. What's up? I lost another pregnancy, which was very traumatic. And then now God miraculously gives us, after a period of prayer and people had prophesied over us, I see a girl, this and that. So we are like, yes. We conceive. And we are above the moon. What do you mean? And it was a very nice pregnancy. This is a pregnancy that I was the prettiest. All the others zinachukwanga sura yangu. Hii nilipewa. And people saying you're carrying girls that they take. Me, this one for the girl, I was pretty. Yani kabisa. Nilikuwa na meta hivi. And we carried the pregnancy so beautifully. It had a few challenges. I had a clot in the uterus in the first trimester, but the clot disappeared. So we were like, God, thank you, because it's a miracle. We carried this baby so well. Prayers, we knew there was something. I don't know, we just had a very prayerful atmosphere in that season. So we were praying, we were surrounding this child, we were ready. I was struggling to buy things for this child for some reason. And now I had a boy before, so this is a girl. So I was like, I inherit my blanket, but there was some difficulty in buying stuff. I normally order some things from Amazon in the US. So I had ordered. The shipment got lost. Amazon refunded me. I'm like, even a diaper bag I could not get. So there was just something in the spirit again that was quite hard. Anyway, we carried the pregnancy 37 weeks. It was very difficult in terms of I had anemia, I had placenta previa, so my placenta was lying low. There was a lot of challenges, but God enabled us to get to 37 weeks. At 37 weeks, I had a prayer meeting in our house. They were praying for me because of the delivery on Valentine's Day. I was to deliver on Valentine's Day. So they were praying for me, and one of my people there, I told them, is a doctor. I said, my baby is not moving very well. Hey, really? Lala kwa kiti. So I lay on the chair, and he takes this thing for the tissue paper. He's worked in Kakuma, so he knows how to improvise things. So he puts it on my stomach, and he can hear the heartbeat. He told me the heartbeat is there. First thing in the morning, Kimbia Hospitali. I texted my gynecologist. He told me the same thing, because I wanted him to tell me, come to see now. But he said, no, come tomorrow morning. So that night I could not sleep. There was something off in my spirit. So I went to my son's room. I took my son to our bed. I slept in my son's room. Raboshana, the whole night, I was praying. I was like, God, something feels amiss. I know I can feel it in my spirit. Something is amiss. But then again, I speak life. I was speaking life. We had planned to call this baby another name, but that night I even said, I'll call her Zoe. Zoe means life. All our children have a letter Z. I was like, God, even I'll change the name of this child. I'll call her Zoe, meaning life, because I was feeling that life was being taken. Somehow, in the morning, by the time I was waking up, packed bags, I was ready. We were out of the house immediately. So we drove to hospital, got to the clinic. They did the scan, heartbeat is there, but they said they need to do something called a non-stress test. They put a band around the stomach and they monitor the heartbeat for 45 minutes and the contractions. But of course, I was not having contractions because I was not due yet. So I was told to go to this particular hospital. So I go to this hospital, and they do the test. 45 minutes, good. Strong heartbeat. It can be heard all over the room. Very strong heartbeat. And then the doctor says, anyway, Julie, because you're here, so we deliver this child. Because we've done every preparation, and it was just a week away. Me, I'm like, remove this child because I'm not at peace. So I was not supposed to deliver at that hospital. We had already booked another hospital. And I say, Doctor, what do you think? Do you deliver here? Ama we go? He's like, I'm already even in the other hospital waiting for you. Come. And I ask the nurses, do I take an ambulance? Because something is off. They tell me, no, there's no traffic today, even at this hour. Just go. It was not too far. We get Araka. This time I'm still not feeling movement, but the heartbeat is there. So tunafika, tuko parking. We are still debating about the name. Even finding the name for this girl was so hard. My husband tells me this is what we'll call her. Zora, Nuru, Genesis, Kariuki. So Zora means dawn of a day. Genesis is the beginning. Kariuki our surname. So we are like, sawa. So I go check in, take me to emergency room, and then now they have to check again the heartbeat before they send you to theater. So I can see this nurse, there's a look on her face. And then that day I had done my hair because that's the day I was supposed to go to salon as I prepare for delivery. So my hair is looking like, And then I can just see this face in this nurse, and I can't hear the heartbeat. Because the Doppler you can hear. You hear it. I didn't hear. And I told her, heartbeat inakuanga mahali hapa, hebu angalia tena. She puts it. She calls her colleague. And now theater is calling for me because it was an emergency. So they come for me. And then now my stomach now, I feel, zileza, I need to go to the bathroom. Like I'm going for a runny stomach. I go to the bathroom. The doctor himself came for me in the bathroom. He was like, Julie, you cannot. Theater now. So theater, they open me up, remove the baby didn't cry. I start screaming. They sedate me and they take me out. So the baby died literally 5 minutes or so before birth. And it's those things that you're like, God, ni nini umefanya? Make this make sense. Like, what is this you've done? I was so bitter. I was so angry. I was so confused. Because God, kaiko mtoto tumeombea ni huyu. Kaiko mtoto, God, as in, I kept telling him, how do you get the glory? I was asking all those questions still in my recovery bed like this. How do you get the glory? Mbono unajaibisha? Hata si unajaibisha. People know we are your servants. We've testified. When we had our son, I was all over testifying. And when I was carrying that pregnancy, I was testifying because I knew this is a miracle. This is the child of promise. And that began our journey of the worst darkness of our lives. That was February of 2020. And again, like I said, we had struggled getting stuff for this child. So I started seeing, that's why God will go and prevent. Because we got a refund from Amazon. We got, I don't know what else I had ordered locally. They refunded me my money. And I'm like, why is it so much difficulty getting a name? Why is it so hard getting this stuff for this child? And that's it. We went home empty-handed. Lynn, it's so horrible. And the way the medical care in Kenya for moms who've gone through it, it's so horrible.
It's bad.
It's so bad. Thank God, when we were booking the hospital, I think God was protecting us, babe, because we could not, the room we wanted, we could not find it in the floor, maternity floor. So they told us there's a VIP room in pediatrics. You can book that one. God was with us that whole time, because a week later I lose this child, and thank God I'm put in a room where I can't hear any other babies. I can't see any other mothers. So imagine if it was in maternity. Because they put you in maternity and you're empty-handed and your boobs are leaking and you're in such distress. It is so, and you're seeing mothers, they're walking and happy. You're there. So maybe we're in pediatrics. I never met another mother with a baby. Like, God protected us so much. But just hindsight of just how they brought my child to me, the way they handled my child was so bad. And these are some of the things that I keep saying. One day, I don't know when I get the resources, and I have to change that. Because this is someone's child. To you, it's just another piece of, what are they calling it?
Yeah, even the names they
there's
use
a name
are
they were calling the child.
quite demeaning. So to them, it's another, I won't say specimen. It's
just something.
There's a word they used for it.
It's the same hand you use when you amputate a hand.
Yeah. So they use medical terms, which is fine. It's your world. Keep it that way. But when you're dealing with people who are in pain, you don't use those words. And then number two, you don't understand. Anyway, maybe they're not trained to do that. Because me, I remember when she found me screaming in the corridors of the theater.
So when I was sedated and put in the recovery room, so you're in another world. And that in that world I was debating with God. I had a very candid conversation with God. And then I hear wailing. And I remember waking up and asking the nurse, is that my husband? Take me to him. So I can drag to na kitanda and he just collapsed on me. And he told me the baby is gone. I told him I know, because I had that conversation with God.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Yeah.
It's
so,
the devastation and
you feel, because the doctor came and told me, unfortunately, the baby didn't make it. So, Lynn, in my introduction, I'm a hopeless optimist. The last thing you want to tell an optimist is that something has gone wrong.
Nani complete. This one is for there's nothing.
I'm like, what could have been done? So the moment the doctor tells me that, I feel like the ground below my feet shifts and I fall. Thank God I had Kishane, Donald, with me and his wife. He was there. He held me. And I went and met her. And I felt like my chest was being pressed against something. And now we can talk about it comfortably, but then it was so hard. So I tell them I want to see the baby. They bring the baby in a box, carton.
For milk, amani.
Ameko ndani ya box.
This is the baby. I don't know if you've seen my babies. My babies are beautiful.
Yeah, ameko kwa box, amefungwa na kitu ya green. So they bring them and then I'm shouting at them. I'm like, you're putting her in a box? And
like
I was causing a scene in the theater. I'm like, you people can't be serious. You're bringing her in a box and there's nothing else mungepata mumweke.
Hata hizo cloth tu. Hata hiyo bed. Kwani kama kwa hiyo bed yenye anapatianga tu just normal babies.
Yeah.
I'm a normal sheet.
Nothing. So the insensitivity and I know people have gone through worse.
Wow.
Yeah.
Babies are put in buckets. You brought your baby in a bucket.
Yeah.
Ya kosha floor. They put babies in buckets. Nunambo ni mtoto wako. Tell me what you're doing to this parent. What are you doing to them? Yeah. This is a baby you've carried 9 months. This is a baby you've prayed over. When baby umebeya mashol, umebeya nini? You've pictured them.
You've dreamt of this.
You've dreamt. You've longed for them. And to them it's just another. There's a person I know who told me alileta in a bucket, a dirty ya kuosha floor. They brought the baby like this. Ndio mtoto wako. What dignity? Dignity is wrap this baby well. Present this baby well to this parent. Let them do what they need to do.
Let them have them.
Then you do your things. Uko kule hawaoni. And that was extreme. Let me tell you this. So mimi I was in recovery. Of course, you are given 6 hours before. So I had not met my daughter at that point. So when I was ready, I could feel my feet. They put me on a wheelchair and took me to see. Of course, they brought the nini. My dad held someone by the shirt because of that again. You cannot do this, because it was very traumatizing to me. And I let out such a big scream. And I told my daughter, I am so sorry. Because I felt like, as a mother, when you lose a child, and those who've gone through it to know, you feel like you had one job. You had just one job. Bring this child to earth. One job. I failed. And I started telling my husband, I'm sorry. I turned to my mother-in-law, I'm sorry. My mother, I'm sorry. Because I was feeling like, Julie, you just had one task. Kazi rahisi sana. Women give birth here like a joke. But you could not do it. And you have the best of the best doctors. You're in the best of the best hospitals. But even though ilikuwa. And I let out such a big scream. I remember that scream came from my womb because I remember feeling it. And one of my friends, Nancy, put her hand on me because I was feeling like my lungs would get out of my body. It was so bad. And then my husband took the baby from me because nilikuwa tanzimia. And it was such a bad pain. And there's nothing bad for a mother when you have to hand back your baby now to the morgue people. Wameke kwa fridge. You had a warm bed at home. You had warm baby shawls. They're putting this baby now in a fridge. Lynn, I can't explain. It's not natural. It's not a natural process. So there's a death that happens there. There's such a bad thing that happens there when you're handing over, you're burying your own. In this process that's a very quote-unquote simple. And that's why I keep saying childbirth is very spiritual. Because that's the only time I've had encounters with God. It was on that day in theater and at that moment where I just felt this exchange. And I was just like, I was pleading with God, give me this child, even if she'll be a vegetable. Give it to me, even if she'll have cerebral. Because I knew she has not breathed for a bit. but akimfanya CPR, she'll breathe, but her brain will be dead. Give me, even if she'll be brain. Like, I was negotiating with heaven, but heaven was silent, and heaven went silent for a long time after that. That was February. God was like this on us for, I want to say like 2-3 months. So we go home empty. My baby shower was so beautiful. So some of the things that had remained from the baby shower, the balloons, Nini was still in the house. I go in the house. I remember my Instagram people were waiting for me to make the announcement the baby was here. I could not. So I deactivated everything. So 2020, we were not on social media. And the tough life began for tumeachwa. Na Mungu metuacha. And at that time, even I didn't want healing. I was just like, kauko. As in, why do I need you for? If the worst has happened, why do I need you? You know? And at that time, we talked to one of our friends who've lost a child. They're called Ida Hossas. They're in Nigeria. And they had a similar experience, but their child had lived for about 12 hours. And they're, again, believers. Their dad would raise a dead back in the day in Nigeria. And we talked to them, and they told us, just put worship music in the house. It will help. Because at that time, mimi sikuwa nataka kusikia God. Even guys would come in the house and want to pray. I'd be like this.
Munadu.
Like, I don't even to, like, ombeni mtoke.
Kwanza wale wabaya ni wale wanakuja kusema ati, okay, si wabaya, they were good people. Like, just take the words.
Ubaya.
Wajui
It is well.
Ministry, God will birth a ministry out of this. Naambia hatutaki kusikia ministry.
Alafu mwingine anasema, you guys allowed the enemy. There's a
so people
room
say
you
all
left for the enemy
things.
to enter. That's why your baby was taken. It's because you had a baby shower. You know, guys say such
you
nonsense.
put your baby,
you baby bam. You know, you were out there. There was a lot of things that were said that were extremely hurtful. But now during that process, the worship music, because I remember there's a point I said, God, it's been real. Nenda, I'm good. I'm okay. I can exist. You know, and there's a time even my husband, and guys, my husband is a pastor. There's a time our eldest son was having a fever or something. So I told him, please pray for him and enda kulala. He said, even if you pray, if God wants him to die, he'll die. And we were that hopeless. So we know what hopelessness is. Ile tu ya, acha lale. Mempatia dawa, acha lale. You know, we were so hopeless and so defeated. But then this worship music started ministering to us. And we started feeling some life in us. And now these people visiting us, just speaking life. And speaking life, you'll be a mother to many. Sometimes we don't want to hear that because I was like, I'm never going back to Hosea. I don't want. But just realize that, Julie, there's a life. There's life beyond this. Julie, there's life. But I remember one of my aunties, I really love her. Auntie Lea, hi. Auntie Lea. Hapo Hosea, I remember just being, nafu nakumbuka nywele yangu iko hivi because I had bomwad it. She came and she touched my womb. And she said, utazaa, you'll have so many children. And you know, nile tatu utaki could respond because in my head I was like, I'm never giving birth. And I'm wailing. And she's like, Julie, you'll have so many children. People will be admiring you walking with your children. And I'm looking at her like, I don't think I want to even have children, you know. And another friend of ours, Gishane, and he, you know, he was like, guys, you'll have another child. A time like this next year, and I was looking at him like, bruh, ain't possible. It's not gonna happen. Anyway, so God did this healing process, and we started therapy immediately, grief therapy. So God led us to a therapist who's a believer. So she started working with us, and we started feeling the life. And then I started looking at scripture. And I took one scripture from the Bible, because the Bible was not making sense to me. You know, there were some things that were triggering. Miracles were triggering me, because I'm like, I didn't experience a miracle. So, but just one scripture. When the Lord returned the captivity of Zion, it looked like a dream, too good to be true. And I was like, God, do that for us, restore us, that it will look like a dream, too good to be true. Because we struggle conceiving. So for me, it was just like, you've given birth through CS. So I was like, I'll need a year to recover. And then now another, how long to try conceiving. So I was just thinking, this is so impossible. But we just said, God, believe you me, in May I was pregnant. I've delivered in February. May. And we already had a name. When the Lord returned the captivity of Zion, we knew our child would be called Zion. Wow. And it was the smoothest pregnancy. And a time like this last year, like next year, like my friend had said, we had the most beautiful baby in our arms, and
the hairiest.
The hairiest, that boy is hairy. But like, it
so
just
the recovery
restored.
came.
Yes.
And sometimes God can just fast track certain things because we lost our baby in
restoration.
February 2020.
Sometimes God can fast track certain things.
And by January, so a year was not over.
Yeah.
We had conceived and delivered. Before the next February, we had a baby.
Wow.
So I had 2 babies in 1 year.
So because of that social media blackout,
Yes.
when a baby was born, many people
Thought
thought
it was
this is the baby we were in hiding all throughout because we did talk about it. And after 1 year, Zion was born, January 1st, 2021, we had our baby boy, as a testament that God is still at work.
And God is not bound by time. Because you remember, my mathematics was like, give me a year to recover from the CS, and then this long to conceive, because for us it's a process. That's thing the doctors again. In God restored us in less than 2 months. I was pregnant. First, after giving birth, mwili yako you're bigger. My body had gone back to, size. I don't know, just a healing that happened. Yeah. And one of the things I tell people, when you're telling God to restore, don't tell him to restore what happened. Even restoring time is more superior. Restoring time is that time you lost, because I felt I had lost 9 months. God restores it. And that's why sometimes when some people, they get twins. You took 9 years to have 3 children. God gives 3 children to one person at a go. That's restoration. And those are the prayers to make when you're in this really dark times.
Yes. How does that look like? How does that loss look like for a man? Because sometimes when loss happens, I really wanna it's her. My empathy is more towards her because she knows how it feels to have carried that. She knows how it feels to have pushed or the CS. So we are bound to interact with her more and maybe leave you out of the picture because Goja will deal with you later. But she needs this love from us more, and we don't recognize that the pregnancy is by both of you. So for you as a man, how did you cope with that, and what support system was there for you?
That's a good question, Lynn, because I quickly discovered that people don't know how to handle men who are in pain. They just don't know because they don't expect you to be in it. Yeah, they don't. And so even me previously, when we had people who had gone through such things, I didn't know how to handle the man. Okay, I had a friend who lost the wife and twins at the same time. I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know how to approach him. I didn't know what to do. So it's not just me. There's an incoherence when it comes to supporting a man who's going through pain and especially grief. And what you're saying is true. So people used to come to visit us at home, but they would go and sit with her. All right? And I kept wondering, guys, do you realize we are both grieving? Those are the questions going through my mind. Okay? They've bought gifts, sijui, comfort, whatever. Julie, we are so sorry for your loss. And I'm there just watching. I'm like, pia mimi nimelose. Okay? But what happened during that time is my mind also quickly went into standing with her. Yes. So I didn't even have room for myself. I think my grieving and cry was the day our daughter passed on, that day and the days in hospital. After that, nikaingia recovery mode and autopilot for the sake of her.
But he grieved her. Those 3 days, he let it out.
So I entered that. So I learned that people don't know how to handle you as a man if you're going through that. I appreciate the people who reached out, single me out and said, let's go take a drive. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go drive fast on the road to help me get my mind out of that. I appreciated those instances. But our society is extremely coherent as far as helping women is concerned, but not coherent with helping a man. And we have to build the right support systems, even for the man. I know men are told, don't cry when you're young, don't show your tears and all, but hey, people are hurting, Lynn. I'm sure there are some of your viewers right now, the men are in a bad, desperate place. They are not bad men. They are not irresponsible. They are not criminals. They are just good people, but life happened. Externally, things happened to them. And they are wondering, how do I get out of this? How do I pick myself up, you know? And to tell such people, I feel you completely, because I was in that space, all right? Getting help, getting support, having one or two people who can just walk with you in that journey goes a long way. And being confident in expressing what you're feeling. Because again, we are taught how to mask your feelings, mask your emotions. Tell someone, I'm really struggling.
Yeah.
I'm really, if I don't figure myself out in the next 2 months, I'm going to lose my mind. Talk about it. We've been taught how to mask. Calm, mask everything, appear good to your family.
Be strong.
You know, be strong, you know, take a hit.
Men don't cry.
Men don't cry, take a hit and move on. But you need someone, Lynn, that you can tell, I'm crumbling. And if I don't get a lifeline, I think I'm going to lose myself and something bad will happen. We need to create those spaces.
And also that other person being told, sometimes it's not even about fixing the issue. It's just letting this man fall on you and just wail, or in the quietness of it. Like sometimes you'd have those drives and they'd be quiet, you know, see crack jokes to make the atmosphere comfortable. No, just sit in the silence of this pain and defeat. And you know.
And some will open up. Gishane told me, if you need a place to stay, come to my house. If your house is becoming too emotional and your house is becoming too triggering, I have a room. Stay for as long as you want to.
Because now people had moved in with us to help us, but you see, all the help was directed to me, right? There was someone giving me a massage. There was someone making breakfast for me. There was someone, like, I had all this help. But you see, now he's on the sidelines. Also really concerned about me, but again, in pain. So he needed a space where he can just go and, you know.
And let it happen.
And we went and stayed in his house for a couple of nights.
For real?
Yes,
We did,
because we were like, we don't stay in this space anymore.
It was triggering. You know, our
It was
house,
very
you
triggering.
were waiting for a child.
Yeah. So we went and stayed, and they never asked us, when are you leaving? No. Food was there. Hot water to shower was there. You know, books were there if you need to read.
Yes.
If you need to drive out, go, you know. They created that safe haven for us. And we moved from facing an adversity to now building resilience to now finding hope again.
And you know, when we did our series in the UK, I interviewed this amazing woman who had lost her son to suicide. And I asked her, what's your greatest fear? And she was talking about, because she had other 2 kids, but for some reason she could not get over this loss. And the 2 kids had started noticing, mommy doesn't love us anymore, mommy doesn't care about us anymore. But she found it really hard to move forward after losing her firstborn. Because even when you're experiencing this loss, you have your son.
For sure.
He's seen all these things. How did you deal with him being around all these things and him knowing, yes, I know mom and dad, they are going through this loss, but I still matter. They still love me.
For sure.
And they still care about
me. My son was my lifeline. Literally, I think the only way I had a sound mind by the end of that year was because of him. So one of the things that happened, he was just 2.5, very small boy. And, you know, he was seeing me crying, defeated, just hopeless. And one day he came, and he was from outside, and he just came next to me with his dirty face and dirty feet. Mama, you're crying? And I told him, Mommy is sad. He said, but Mommy, I'm here. And my mind was like, and I was like, whoo, you're here. By the way, you're here. By the way, you're here. And I put him on my lap and I hugged him. And from that day, he moved into our room. We slept on the same bed the whole year. Because I wanted him to know, you're here. Everywhere we went, we were with him. Everything. And, you know, and suddenly the sadness started lifting. And when I would have those really defeating moments, you know, it would be in the safety of maybe my husband or in a room when he's not there. But when we are, you know, in public, I would show him, you're here. But there's nothing I did for you to be here. I thank God.
But you're here.
But you're here. Yeah. So for me, that was, he was my lifeline.
How did you deal with that?
I think having him around, so for me, I wanted to I just got into this mode of support for Julie, because Lynn, I discovered, and I pray that we can be a society that appreciates women. Yeah, I pray that anyone who looks like me, who's a man, can appreciate the place of a woman. Because I learned that women go through a lot. And let me give you an example. When we got married, I didn't change anything. She had to change her name, take my name. She had to now be called Pete's wife, all right? When we became pregnant, I did not become pregnant. She became pregnant. Nothing about me changed. I maintained my weight, maintained my eating habits, maintained my friends. Her things shifted. Her eating, her friends, her moods, everything shifted. So she changed. I'm not changing. Places and things she could do, I could still go for my hikes. She can't go for the hike. So she's had to adjust so much in the process of getting and evolving into a woman and a mother and a wife. It'll be so ignorant of me to think that nothing is changing. And so I pray and hope that as a society, we can wake up a bit and appreciate women and mothers, all right? Because I didn't go to theater. She went to theater. So yes, we say, hey, we are married, we have children. I didn't go to theater. She's gone under the knife. Four times. I have no cut in my body. I've not been operated. All right? She's gone through all these things. She's gaining weight, she's losing weight. She's gaining weight. Her BP goes up, her BP goes down. When I found her as a young girl, she wasn't going through this. And then, Lynn, you want me now as a man to start mistreating her or to mistreat any other woman. So I have deep respect for women and mothers because of the load they have to carry that probably men will never understand the magnitude, never understand the scope, never. And because I might never understand everything, the little I can do is to appreciate, is to be sensitive.
When you talk like that, and you still hear some men saying you are simping, well, how does that make you feel?
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And granted, there are some psychos out there. There are people who, whether they understand things or not, they'll still make a decision. But for the reasonable men out there, and for the ones who have been raised by a mother or raised by women around you, don't appreciate what they have to go through. So my wife has gone through 4 surgeries. We've gone out of hospital without a baby. She had to deal with producing milk and there's no baby to drink it. I didn't go through that. All right? She was connected physically to a baby. I was not connected to a baby. So she had to deal with physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, and still recover out of it. We are not at the same level. I actually think she's outdone herself and me as far as healing is concerned. Because if I was to go through everything she's gone through, I don't think I'd make it.
Why does that make me feel like crying?
I don't think I'd make it.
I know, you know.
So we have to be sensitive. So after all this process, I became sensitive to the needs of my wife. And then I made sure I'll never miss any hospital visit from then on. Clinic visits for our babies, I'm always there. Because Lynn, I'll tell you this, the more I was there, the more I started to appreciate what our women go through. I was like, you go through all these things. You go through all these scans. You put on medicine, you put on pregnant care and put on supplements. Me, I'm just eating my nyama. I have no problem. Hakuna stress your life. You know,
you're constipated.
You're constipated, you're in pain.
Nerve pain.
Your back is in pain. You can't sleep well at night. You have insomnia. Yes, you love what you're going through. Your legs are swelling. Water retention is coming. And then we meet at the end of the road and we're mistreating our women and our mothers.
It's not okay.
It's our society cannot be allowed to cross that line.
You know, what he's saying, trust you me, it needed to be said. And I'm just happy it has been said by a man. The other day on TikTok, I bumped on this clip. there's a whole series of women talking about their moments during postpartum. And there was this clip a lady had uploaded. She was breaking down at a corner in her changing room. And she was breaking down, and all she needed was to be held. And her husband was recording how dramatic she was. And then that whole thread, now there are stories, it's story time of women talking about how they were treated by their partners during that moment. And for me, seeing a man, because even on that thread, there are men who are saying how beautifully they treated their wives or their girlfriends or their partners, really makes me happy.
You know, you will never forget how you were treated during pregnancy and post. As a woman, it's one of those things that just stick to your head. And that's why you see when women are really treated bad by their husbands during pregnancy and post, most chances they will leave. Later, maybe. But it's because you feel so devalued. It's your most vulnerable times. It's things that are way beyond your control. You know, and the first 6 weeks after delivery, your hormones, you don't even recognize yourself. From the way you smell, from the way you look, from the way, everything. So imagine someone being mean to you at that time. It needs people who are compassionate. They may not understand fully what you're going through, but they are there and like, and not asking questions. Unataka nikusaidiaje? Because you're adding more burden to my mind already, which is over. Do it. My husband he washes our babies the first 2 months of their lives. May don't touch those babies. First 2 months with their delicate bodies, he'll wash them, massage them, oil them, bring them to me. My work is just to sit there, cut hot chocolate, nanyonyesha, na hand over,
Netflix,
that's it. And you need such who will see the value. And of course, when it's time for him to go back to work, he'll make sure that I have the help that I need.
Yes.
There are people I know even will not hire help for their wife. Kweli ni wa kwanza kuzaa. Kweli ni. That's so demonic because she needs the help.
It's very derogatory.
She needs the help. Yes.
Beautiful.
She needs the help.
I love, God, I've loved. You guys, you're just amazing. And I hope the men and women that are watching, even those who are at their pregnancy stage right now, they get to hear this and they get to celebrate it with someone who will hold their hands, you know.
Sure.
But you did mention about, of course, there are people who will take care of you, but then there are people who will, you know, leave those very insensitive remarks. How do you deal with such people? How do you deal with such remarks?
You cut them off.
Oh, beautiful.
So for me, cut them off.
I wanted to say that. I know you guys, you're related.
We should do a study somewhere.
Yes.
For sure. You wanted to say that, but I thought it would look.
No, it wouldn't.
Literally.
Yeah, we say
like
the
they
truth.
don't exist.
Cut them off.
Una sanitize. Unawatoa, unawa sanitize. Because let me use the example again of HDU, ICU.
Yes.
Okay. There's a reason why we sanitize before we go in. Because any little germ, any little cough can affect the patient faster than they were healthy and outside. So we were in a place where we were not healthy. We were very, very vulnerable. That's not the time to come and try and tell me sijui life bloodline, sijui who did what. I don't care. All I know is I am blind. I want to see again. If you can't give me a solution for that, I'll escort you to the door. All right? And you will not see yourself here again. All right? And so it got to a point where I even started, I told my wife, I want to know who's coming to see us. I want to know.
We had a lot of visitors.
So that if there's someone I'm not comfortable with,
don't come at all.
Tutampatia tu excuse.
What do you call?
Tutamwambia sasa fanya hivi, it's not a good time, especially for my wife. So I had something, like especially for my wife, she still needs to rest. I'm like, so you cut off because, again, Lynn, as a society, I'll say this, because I see it happening on TikTok, on social media, we tend to cross certain lines and we think it's normal. We think it's normal to kick people when they're down. We think it's normal.
Shooting a wounded soldier.
We think it's normal when someone is hurting, that's the time you want to throw comments, pale kwa comment section. All right? I pray that even the community that you have on Lynn Ngugi show and everyone, that people can start understanding there are lines we can't cross. If someone is in pain, if someone is hurting, if someone is vulnerable and they've shared their story, all right? If you have nothing positive to say, keep quiet. You don't need to say anything, all right? You don't need to comment. You don't need to throw anything. You don't need to create a pseudo account. So we don't know you.
You don't have to say.
There are lines we can't cross. Let's keep on the healthy side. Let's build a society that is responsible. Men who are responsible. Husbands who are responsible. All right? I don't need to demean my wife. I don't need to demean my children. I don't need to demean you, Lynn. I don't need to demean Damaris. I might not know you too much, but there has to be a residual humanness in me that can value you where you are.
Yeah. I completely agree. And you know, when you go through loss, there are stages of it, and one of them is anger. And the anger can be so volatile. So I remember I deleted my whole phone book. You remember I've quit social media. I'm not on any social media. I'm hardly on WhatsApp. Went to my phone book and deleted because the anger is usually too much. And it's just the stages of grief because you're angry. My therapist told me to write a list of everyone I was angry with. So I started with God. God was top on the list. Then my doctor, because I felt he didn't listen to me very well. Then me. Then who else was there? There was
Everyone else.
Everyone else. They didn't do anything. And slowly by slowly I started, okay, Julie, really, what didn't you do? Because I did everything by the book. Okay, nikajitoa kwa list. I went to my doctor. He could have done this faster. If he responded to me faster, the baby would have been alive. But then again, I'm like, because we had prayed so much. And I remember someone specifically praying for the doctors and the nurses who would attend to me. I started feeling like this was even beyond him because my doctor mourned my child, really mourned this child. So I removed him from the list. So tukabaki mimi na God. God, I know you're sovereign, but don't be a bully. I feel like you're being a bully. I feel like you're bullying me. You're trying to show me
proof point.
You're proving a point. And you know these things that people say, but God loved them most. That's why they've gone to heaven. It's so triggering for someone who's going through loss. And I don't know, we use it a lot as a society, but I don't feel like it's the right thing to use because they were not loved. As in, what does that mean? So God doesn't love these other children who are here. Like, it's one of those statements that it's neither here nor there, you know? But again, I had to enter self-preservation mode. And self-preservation mode meant me almost being selfish. So we moved houses. Because one of my neighbors also, it was triggering to me, her statements and what she was talking with the watchmen and the neighborhood people. So I had to move houses. And then again, my phone book cleared it. And you'd enter there per merit. Like, okay, you've come through. You sent me a message, encouraging message. Just thinking about you, Julie. Yeah. So you started coming back through such. But those people who'd come and you know, as an African society, we want to always make sense of a strange death. Someone has fallen in a plane crash, but you'll try say, because amerogwa. You know, and there were all these things people are saying. It's in your blood. It's there's witchcraft. So what? It's the way you've placed this bulb. Someone went to that extent of saying it's this flower. You have a flower. You know this decorative flowers you have in the house. It's this flower that caused it. Imagine. Nonsense. So it's the water you drink. It's where you live. Yeah. It's you because you traveled to this place. It's because, you know, because we are just, and I'm like, these are Christians, because our friends are Christians. And I'm like, sometimes it's death. It's just God's hand in this, you know. And for us not to try and make sense of it, go sit there and be quiet. Go sit there, cry. Go make tea. Go play with the other child who's there or whatever. But just let's not try to make so much explanation out of because you'll end up hurting these people. Actually, my hardest things, the loss, okay, it was tough, but the things people said was tougher. And the things people did and the neglect. Some of them were so scared of us because of these things you've gone through, and they completely distanced themselves. You know that hurt? It's more hurtful. That is more hurtful than even someone who will say something bad, because I'm like, you're my buddy. Where were you? But as actually, I didn't know what to tell you. Just come, sit there. Just sit there, you know. And those are the things, you know, we've been teaching people in the conversations we're having. But right now I'm in a place where God has really healed me. It's been a while. It's been a while. It's 4 years now. It's been a while. So God has been doing his healing work and all that. But I can tell you, the anger with someone going through grief, people going through grief are not the nicest people. So extend grace to them, and also extend grace to yourself. You can also tell, I'm not being so good, but don't start feeling bad you're dealing with grief, just deal with the grief. Even itakuja tu ndo iko.
Ikuje.
Have a trusted people around you who will just hold you even in this chaos that you're feeling.
Pete,
Yeah.
how, before we rolled, I asked a question. Why is it that sometimes when you are praying to God, you are good, you and God, by the way, mkopoa, that's when things just become worse and worse and worse and worse. How do you still trust God even after a loss? How do you go back to him and say, "Enyewe God, it is what it is"? How do you still remain a pastor even after all this?
Lynn, it's because there's no other option. Yeah, I always say this, that God cannot mismanage your life. Yeah. If you can trust employers to do certain things for you, if you can trust the government to do certain things for you, whether they do it or not is a different story. Will they do it? Sometimes they will, sometimes they can't. If we can trust that, then how much more still trusting God, who can't mismanage our lives? And so we still have to go back and understand that our stories are part of a very big story that's being written.
Yes.
Because maybe, Lynn, if this didn't happen, maybe we would not have met. Maybe someone somewhere will not have heard about another side of going down and coming back again.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's trusting that God knows what he's doing. All right. Our work is to trust him. He says, "Come, let us reason together." Ask the hard questions. I love that my wife asks hard questions. Wrestle with God if you need to. But remember that he is your source, still your source. And also remember, I am not the first one to go through what I'm going through.
Yes.
I have to look back and see, how did people overcome? How did people come through grief? What examples are there? Because I would be lying to myself if I told myself, you're the first one to go through this. Yeah?
Yes.
I'd be like, Pete, this is so unique. No one else in the world has gone through this. No one else in history has ever gone through this. I don't think it's true. And I've discovered, Lynn, there are people who've gone through worse than what I've gone through, and they're still hoping more than I'm hoping right now.
Wow.
All right? So it's just a posture of the heart. It's how you posture your mind and posture your heart. Because the same God who gave us our firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn, is still the same God. The God in the valley, the God in the high mountains, the God through my success, the God through a marriage, is still the same God. All right? Whether we have all the answers about the loss we went through, which we still don't have, we still choose to still trust in him, not blindly, but allow him to do the work that he needs to do. Because I could be right now helping someone who is about to take their life, and then they hear this story, and then it sets them. So for the sake of someone who was held back, for the sake of a couple that was almost giving up, for the sake of a wife who was almost saying it's over, if there's anything that can come out of our story to empower and uplift, maybe we were chosen to go through this, but there's a purpose for it. So maybe someone else who's hurting, you've been chosen to go through what you're going through by the grace of God, and God trusts that you can handle the weight for the sake of generations, people, societies, nations. And trust that there's something beautiful on the other side of pain, something beautiful on the other side of hurt, something beautiful on the other side of disappointment. So cross over, don't die on this side. Don't dig your grave on this side. Trust, scale the hill, scale the mountain, go through the valley, appear. We need you on the other side.
It's beautiful on the other side.
People are waiting for your obedience on the other side. So just plow through if you can, and offer a helping hand to someone else.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Everything we go through in life is not for you. And for us, that's one of the things we knew God had told us when we were getting married. Everything for you guys, you need to write it. And I've journaled our whole lives. Even used to keep scrapbooks of pictures. It's like I've always just known anything you guys go through. And for us, I've seen a lot of our friends who've opened businesses, Airbnbs, biashara, they're traveling in and out, importing, exporting, and I'm so happy for them. And I always ask God, what is that product you want us to sell? What is this biashara you want us to do? And God has always told us, it's your story. And I'm like, story? It's your story. It's that thing you've gone through. Every aspect when it comes to parenting, when it comes to our relationship, when it comes to anything that we've gone through, it has always been, that's your product. That is what will sell. That is what will make you guys achieve all these things that you want to achieve. That's the purpose that is in our lives, our story. And for us, that's why we share it. It's not the most comfortable of situations, but it's just that we know it's greater. And we knew, even this pain that we went through, there's a greater side to it. And that's why we said, even if we will crawl, we'll crawl towards healing. We are not getting stuck. Even if I will crawl like a snake on my belly, and literally the first days were like that. I was looking at healing. I was seeing the Julie that is healed, the Julie that is speaking boldly, the Julie that is not downcast. And I was like, I want her. Wow. And I said, I will go towards her. Come rain, come shine. And that's what we did, slowly by slowly, every day, encouraging ourselves, every day listening to encouraging materials, every day seeking professional help. I did even a course in grief. Helping bereaved parents. I've done a course in that, and I do help people like that. So slowly go towards healing. And now when you're on this side of healing and restoration, because now from that loss, God gave us 2 children. One was the one we had prayed for, Zion. And the other one, God surprised us. Like we were just chilling. We were done. We were good.
You were chilling?
We were, well,
We were chilling.
we were chilling. Hey, and then mbona nasikia, why is everything smelling? Why is nini? You're pregnant. Yes. And I'm like, God, you can surprise us to the extent that you're like, okay, God, we are good now. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. And God can change your story. He rewrote our story. That was one of the prayers we were making. Rewrite our story. There are scales of balance in heaven. There's a justice system in heaven. And sometimes you can feel kuna injustice. Story yangu iko venye ningetaka. Align na scripture. Unaambia Mungu, change the scale of justice for my sake. And he does it. Yes. And suddenly, it's a beautiful story. Suddenly, you become the talk of nations, like the scripture had clung on. You become the talk of nations. People want your God. People want, yet you've gone through hell. And that's what I want to encourage people. There's so much life after this loss. This darkness that you're feeling, this darkness that you're seeing, even as Kenyans, with what you're going through as a nation right now, there's light. We just need to keep at it. Let's crawl, but you're crawling towards healing.
And the other thing we learned just in response to that, Lynn, is there's something called good stored energy. All right? And sometimes I know we give up because we are like, it's not happening now. The healing is not happening now. I've tried. But let me tell you, there's something called good stored energy. And I'll give you an example of an ice block. An ice block is at probably minus 25 degrees of temperature. When you start applying heat to the ice block, it doesn't change to water immediately. It moves from negative 25, negative 20, negative 10. You're still applying energy. Yes. Okay? Yes. You're still praying. Yay. You're still trusting. Yay. You're still showing up. But it's still an ice block. Yes. And you're wondering, manze, God, ice block ita breaks angapi. You're still going for Bible study. You're still applying for a job. It's your 67th job to apply. It's at negative 9. Yes. Go to negative 8. Go to negative 5. At the right temperature, the ice melts and it's water. And to some people outside, it will look like you're an overnight success.
Ooh, and that's what people think.
You know,
goals.
I have moved from negative 25 where no one knew. Yeah. The prayers I made, the cries I had to cry in my house alone, the talking to people, the sending, cold calling to get business. Then I got one, and that one wiped away all my tears, wiped every problem I had. So I call it stored. It's a good energy that's stored. So I'd tell someone, don't stop praying. You're storing good energy. Yes. Don't stop giving, because when you gave, you are hurt. Continue giving.
Beautiful.
Don't stop pursuing your passion because you tried and you failed. Yes. Continue giving. At the right temperature, it breaks.
And the sun shines.
And the sun shines. And the wind still blows over your hair. Yes. And you feel beautiful again. Yes. And you feel handsome again.
Yes. That's so beautiful.
It looks like it's an overnight story. But
it's good stored energy.
And God wipes tears. God changes it. Kabisa.
Yes. Yeah. We are crawling towards
healing. We have to do it.
We are going towards that, good stored energy. Yeah. I promise you, that's my take home. That's my take home. Yeah. No matter what, crawl towards healing. That is so beautiful. Yeah. You know how many people You'll just see it on the comment section. This was such a much needed conversation.
Thank God.
Yeah. And
Guys,
and
you're
what we'd
amazing.
say is
Yeah.
pay it forward.
Take your time.
Yeah, pay it forward. It doesn't hurt to help someone else.
Yeah.
You know, pay it forward. It's beauty can come out of ashes.
Yes.
All right. Wholeness can come out of brokenness.
Absolutely.
God can actually patch you up. You are broken and shattered into pieces. God can actually mend you. And I'd say pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Don't just be a consumer of good stories. Okay. If you're watching Lynn Ngugi show, don't just be a consumer of good stories. Go and help someone else also. With the stories you've had. Do you know how many stories we talk to each other from your show? And we're like, babe, if there's a story I watched at Lynn Ngugi, that testimony has changed my life. I need to have faith and courage. Let me go help someone else.
Beautiful.
You know, so that we create a fabric, a society that's watching out for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shares their stories, and I want people to be hopeful. I think there's so much heaviness and defeat in people and in their mindsets. And there's so much defeat, and I encounter it every day. And I'm saying, guys, there's hope. We are not dying today. Even if we die, we will not all die. Someone will be, there's hope for tomorrow. There's hope for our children. There's hope. So we need to cling to this God, cling to this hope. Just try, believe in one thing. Just say, at least I want to see my children grow. Or one thing, just baki tu na kahope kamoja and just sit, and I know it will come to pass. Like the things we've seen on this other side of healing, it's opportunities that you never, it's a confidence that came upon me that I never thought I would ever get, because I've not been the most confident person. So after the loss, I became super confident. I read proposals and they go through. I walk into buildings. You would think I own that place.
Yes.
Just a confidence that came upon us. And I think because we encountered the worst news that a parent can get. I'm sorry, your daughter is no longer here. Me these days I'm like, what? A no, just a no from you. It can't kill me. If that didn't kill me. So there's no fear. Maybe I walk into places, I dress up, and I walk into those rooms like I own the place, and doors have opened. And there's so much opportunities for you, and our calling, you can just see it blossom, and there's so many things that are in store. Yeah, if guys would be interested in following us, like we have so much in
Tell
store.
them, remind them. They know where to go.
Thank you. Yeah, my page on Instagram is at I am Julie K. I am Julie K. You'll just find me. And I share a lot about my faith. I share a lot about this whole thing that you're talking about. And let me tell you guys, there's so much ahead for us. It's exciting thinking about it.
There's something we're preparing.
Yes.
As we're having a race towards our 10th anniversary. It's July 25th.
Yeah.
That's the time we'll be celebrating 10 years.
Yes.
So we're putting some things together to help couples, especially the ones who've been married for 5 years and below. Yeah. So on my wife's page, you'll get to see some of these things. Because we want to document, we want to help, we want to write, we want to share, we want to have these conversations. So we'll be taking people through this journey, and reigniting hope again, reigniting life again, and in our own little way, just like Lynn Ngugi, to start sharing our good stories, you know, because you've inspired us also. And like I was telling you before we started recording, you have given regular people in this country a voice.
Yes.
All right. Maybe most of people don't know us.
Yes.
But they'll know us through this. Yeah. You've given beyond politicians, beyond CEOs, you've just given regular people like us a voice to speak, to share their story, and people are finding connections with those stories. So thank you for inspiring us.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you can continue telling us what you're doing. I would love to talk about it here on the platform. I want so many couples to come. The way you say it, you know, it's very important to be intentional of your surroundings.
Absolutely.
So I want even people on this platform who, whatever you need me to tell my people, whatever you are putting out there, count on me. I must say it on this platform because if this is not it, I don't want it. I don't want it. I want this for so many people. I want people to have, you know, I want people to understand what support looks like. I want people to know you can do it together. better.
Thank you.
And I feel like we can't be the ones to watch unions crumble.
Correct.
It's our job to make sure that we continue inspiring people.
And people celebrate
because
when
this is
unions
beautiful.
crumble.
When unions crash,
It's sad.
Ah, yeah, by the way, if
so
this
sad.
video was of how you guys
Yeah.
divorced, it
Easy.
will go. It will go, you know. But I am
We are
also
changing the
loving,
narrative.
I love that we are changing the narrative, and I know so many people will be blessed by this show.
Yeah.
I want to wind up,
Yes.
but don't worry about me. We don't have to wind up now.
Yeah.
But every time I get to host a couple, there's always something I ask them to
Okay.
do. So I don't know who wanna go first, looking at each other. Najua yote mmeambiana about what would you want him to know, you know, or what would you want her to know?
Who's going first?
Feel free. They say ladies first. So Ati, you're doing do. Wait, one to go.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay. Looking at him.
Yes, please.
So like just anything.
anything.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Aww.
Mkono yako, mkono wako. I really appreciate your leadership. I appreciate that you are my friend, that you're my shoulder to lean on, you're my therapist. I appreciate that you take care of us with the boys and that you give us your all. There's no time I felt you've given us half. You've always given us your all. And for that, I really thank God. You're my favorite preacher. I love listening to your sermons. I love your sense of style. And I'm here on the long run. When we were dating, I know you remember, we used to ask each other, when we are in that place where all our dreams have come true, who do you want to be next to you? And we said each other, and it still is 10 years later. It's you I want next to me when all these things come together and make sense. Thank you for holding me when I was down, carrying me when I was down, and cheering me on when I'm on my high now. It's just been the journey and the adventure that you promised me. We've been on it, and I'm so glad we're still together in it. Yeah.
That's so special.
That's so special. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, for me, I appreciate you for being an amazing woman. Yeah. I thank God that you embody something that is so valuable. Yeah. And I thank God for you every day. You've made me a better man in many, many ways. Yeah. I'm more focused, more determined. I'm healthier because of you. Because of you. The journey has been amazing, and I can't wait to see what the next 10 years will hold. As we wrap up the first 10 years, tukirudi kwa Lynn,
Yes.
tujue we have a lot more responsibility to change, to speak, to bless. So thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for how you aggressively guard our family, aggressively, our boys and myself. I always say this, I know I'm going to heaven because of you. Yeah, and you won't let me slide off. So thank you. I love you. You're beautiful. Thank you for everything. Yeah. Let's continue conquering together. Yeah.
Amen. 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 This is so beautiful, and I'm happy to have witnessed it. I'm happy that you found even me, you know, worth sharing your story with. And I can't wait for the healing that happens after our audience, me included, and so many other people get to watch this conversation. Whatever you are doing, keep doing it. Where do you minister? Tukuje church. Skola unajua alikuwa ananiambia, "Lina tafuta church." Skola nimekuulizia.
There you go.
Where do you minister? Umuone uko Sunday.
Uko Sunday. So we are part of a church called the Ruach Assemblies.
Yes.
The one that we minister at is in Karen,
Yes.
at the Waterfront Mall.
Yeah.
So we're there every Sunday from 9 a.m. inside the mall. Tulichukua mall tukasema,
Ikue church.
tutakuwa kanisa.
Amen.
From the ghetto to the mall. So
Yes.
so we're in the mall every Sunday, 9 to first service 9 to 10, and then 10:30 to 12:30.
Beautiful.
We find us there. Website is www.ruachsouth.org. We are also part of the Rema Feast that happens annually.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to this year's Rema Feast, 26th August to 30th August. I happen to be among the people who puts things together. So we are looking forward to seeing a lot more people this year at this year's edition of Rema Feast.
Yes, it's become very successful.
Yeah.
Yes, sisi ni wa huko. So it's become very successful, and I'm loving this also for our nation. And again, I love that you've been able to share this journey with us. You know, as we wind up, what would be your scholar smile?
All right.
As we wind up, you know, what would be your parting shot to our audience?
My parting shot is Lynn. Uko na space ya Australia, tuko available. Now that we've seen people are delaying to serve you water.
Guys, as I go to Australia.
Because if people are delaying to serve you
Sema
water.
Scholar.
Scholar
akona attitude. Can you imagine, guys, Scholar came and put for Pete and Julie, and then for me she was like, Leo jipange. I am sorry for what you know, but yes, twendeni Australia. Twendeni Australia.
Maybe a parting shot would be, I think I want to just give you your flowers and just say you are a shining light. I see you international, like bagging awards and awards and awards and awards and awards, and it's really because of your heart. I would feel it on the TV screens on my phone when I'd watch you, but now as I've met you in person, you're even more bubblier and nicer in person. And I just pray every blessing that even God will bring you the resources and the people, the team that you need to make you scale and go to higher heights. Neo nema 1 million subscribers pia. Si mind.
How mind, sindio? Ina come. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. My parting shot, Lynn, would be from scripture. I'll share scripture.
Yes.
And this is from the book of Genesis. Joseph, we all know the story of Joseph. He left his father's house, went to Egypt, went to a land that wasn't too familiar with him. But then God blesses him with children, and he gives him 2 boys. And it's the meaning of those names that I pray that our audience will receive that blessing. And he calls his firstborn Manasseh. And he says, I've called you Manasseh because the Lord has made me forget all the trouble I went through.
Wow.
And so I pray that anyone who's watching, that there's a blessing that God will give you that makes you forget pain and trouble. Because it's possible.
It is.
There's a blessing God can give you now, today or tomorrow. You try remember what you went through. You're like, I can't remember because of the blessing. And that's the first blessing I'm praying for everyone who's watching and anyone who's seeking restoration and rebuilding. That God atacheza kama yeye, akubless, usahau mashida zote ulipitia.
Amen.
So that's the first one. And then he said, I call my second born Ephraim. And he said, I call him Ephraim because the Lord has made me fruitful in a foreign land. And my prayer, again, is for anyone who's going through pain, that God will make you fruitful. As you forget that he'll also give you a double portion blessing. He makes you fruitful with your business, with your family, with your children, with your strategies, with your position at work. Whether you're a manager, CEO, he makes you fruitful. Whether you're watching from Australia, it's a faraway land, UK, Europe, America, he will make you fruitful in a faraway land. As we take this journey of rebuilding and restoration. So that will be my parting shot and my prayer to your community and to us all as we continue with this journey of recovery and healing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add. That was so profound.
Yeah.
It has summarized this so well. I didn't know Manasseh and nashindwa ni.
Sisi tumemaliza.
Alafu mtakuwa tu mna chill, alafu we were just chilling.
By the way, I do weddings also. Let me just say this openly. I officiate weddings.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm a licensed minister.
And?
So I'm waiting.
My God.
On a vacation.
certificate zero.
Ziko, what else?
What else?
keep us
Meaning,
here.
like, what
Don't
do
keep
you
us
have?
waiting.
Sindio? Mwambie, by the way, just tell him, you know.
Yeah.
Hiyo si message yangu.
Niona ni achezeki yeye.
Everyone is ready. If you're watching us,
We are ready.
everyone is ready.
Please, everyone is ready. I've had fun in this show.
Thank you.
We've learned, we've healed.
Thank you.
It's been good.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. And I hope we can also get to have you guys again on our platform, maybe for different conversations.
Absolutely.
You know, I love that you are talking to our men. I love that you are talking to people who are going through this. I've always said I want to do panel discussions, and I just want to do our audience. Sometimes they really want to come to the shows, and I'm trying to curate these meaningful conversations for them. And I've been able to identify a couple of things that you can be able to take us through. So when time comes and maybe we would want you back on the show, kindly accept our invitation. Because if we don't rebuild and, you know, if we don't talk about these things, me, I'm loving how we are as a nation. Tuna move pole pole to
One step at a time.
one conversation at a time, na tuna move, and that makes me really happy. So may God go before you.
Thank
Amen.
you.
It would be an honor.
Yes,
you. Thank
please,
you.
as you chill also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
may blessings, may God, you know, you experience God's wonderful wonders.
Thank
Please, I'm a great fan of Kula. I love
send
Gishane.
you
So please pass my regards.
will.
I don't
We
know
will.
them personally, but these are people every time I get to watch whatever they are doing, it connects with me. So, si ati mimi nitataka wakuje kwa show, even if not, pass our regards to them. It's very important for us to have such members in our society. And also may God bless your family. Sisi tunaangalianga tu features za family na watoto. By the way, I've almost forgot to ask, do you think kids change marriages?
Yes.
Hiyo question ya next time.
Yes.
Okay.
Kwa sababu watu wanaingianga space, you become good parents but bad lovers.
Tufanye hiyo show.
Tune in for the next show.
Nikitoka tu
Kutoka Australia tulete na nini alafu tutaongea. We will talk.
We will talk. You see, I feel like that's a show on
That's
its own,
a good
honestly.
conversation.
On its own.
Yes.
I wanted sijui ilipotelea wapi in between. Unaona venye mmeni marinate mpaka nikasahau kufocus. But we can have that.
For sure.
Because I know it's something that a lot of people would be interested in.
For sure.
Me, my people, I'm out of this place. Acha nitoke Kenya kidogo, because who is God? Who is God to fight for? Acha niache scholar hapa na attitude, because me, I'm out. So guys, me, I'm gonna see you, and I can't wait for you to listen to our stories from Australia. I'm loving the submissions. I'm loving the feedback. By the time we are watching this, obviously we'll be there by God's will, and I hope we can continue bringing you impactful conversations, one story at a time. Let me know in the comment section what your take home has been, because this has been such a beautiful show. Congratulations Dama, kuja hapa tukuone. Niwaambie kitu Dama alifanya TikTok.
Dama alifanya nini?
Asa Dama. This is Dama, by the way. Lazima salimiana. She gets to put shows together. Sijui where EJ is today, but you've done a beautiful job producing this show. Then imelipwa. Muliona kauntu kalika kana trend TikTok ati inua mguu kama kako stuck kwa maji na pikipiki.
Ilikuwa Dama.
No, ilikuwa mimi kusema
Tutumie hiyo link.
Dama also has a very beautiful song on her channel, nice. And I love that you guys are watching it. I am proud of you. Na waendelee kuwatch. Ni sawa. Hivi mnamuona in front, si venye anakuanga, she terrorizes us. So I know she told you be on time.
Yes.
She said that. She was like so excellent. Yeah, we appreciate her. So me nitawacha in the safe hands of Dama. And EJ, they'll be preparing beautiful shows for us. Me and Muga, we are out of this place. Kola, take care of our house. We will see you. We'll bring you guys goodies from Australia, but I have loved the support. Take good care of you. I love you. Let me know in the comment section what your take home is. What was your take home?
When he was talking about how we how men really need to take care of their women. It made me think for a minute, by the way, we go through a lot. Yes, I'm not where she is right now.
Yes.
I'm still like a youth, not yet married. And the fact that they have been together all through, because I mean, a lot of people withdraw from their relationships and everything just because they feel that this is too much. And my main one was yo ya Manase. Hata mimi soma Biblia, but sijui nasoma ngaje. You know. Yeah, but I mean, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Good.
conversation was one of the best. Yes.
I think now we move to the next one. Good parents, bad lovers.
For sure.
I've noted that down.
You've noted that down?
Yes.
Beautiful. My take home has been a lot, but you know how we do it on the show, on the comment section. I want to hear from each and every one of you, and go and connect with them on their personal social handles. They're appearing on your screen, and they'll also be pinned on the comment section, including their YouTube channel. Halafu muende mfanye ile kitu mnafanyanga, chezeni kama nyinyi. Let us see what we do here at LNN, like wasitucheze. Go subscribe and make sure that you say Lynn Centers and put that notification bell on so that you don't miss once they upload something. And I'll be here to talk about any of the plans that they have. You know, there's always that thing when our guests come at LNN, we feel like family. And sometimes we always say, if they can be able to walk us through other conversations, why not? Why not have them back on the show? So I look forward to having that conversation with them and many other shows that I know will highly benefit us as a society. Mimi kusema tu asanti, mmetufikisha 900k. Mi usema si lazima upike na watu wakule chakula yako, but you guys, I honestly don't take your support for granted. I see that feedback, I see that positive criticism, I see everything that you send in making sure that we better our network. I see the love you're giving Robert as he continues to host a couple of shows on our platform. I don't take you for granted, so I appreciate you. Muga, shukran sana. You've been very amazing today, Scholar. It's all right, but guys, see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye.